And we're back.
We're back. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, so what we had to do was just a confirmation test to make sure that identifying the nature of the problem. So OBS has a built-in multi-stream,
Okay.
and that is not going to work for us.
Okay.
We'll have to use a restream like everybody else.
We'll just have to update the production, and instead of it,
I'll bring that information to my
yeah,
producers, the
all
directors,
the producers that are surrounding us right now.
yeah. Make sure you guys get that hooked up.
Yeah, you get that hooked up. We'll get that going, and we will adjust and we will
Never
improve.
again.
But how will we do better if we never test it out?
Never again. You know, they say those who are too unwilling to fail or to be embarrassed or to suck at something will never be good at anything because
Oh,
you have to try it first.
it's true.
Everybody who got great at anything always sucked at it
Oh yeah,
first.
you've got to suck for
That's
a
step
while.
one.
Yeah, step one is really being a total sucker.
Luckily, we've got everybody back in chat already. Thanks, guys,
Thanks,
for
guys, for
working
coming
through
back.
that.
We missed you.
Working through that little hiccup there.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. We were just testing out. He kind of knew what the problem was because of the last stream, but he wanted to test it out and make sure it was what he thought it was. And it is. So here we are. We're back. We're live.
Should be in 1080p, glorious 1080p.
We're here to entertain you and tell you you're beautiful.
And do it in high definition. So if you see
And
any
do it in
more
high
issues
def.
with the video, let me know. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and start out today with the news
Yep.
here. The first announcement that I want to make before we jump into these stories is that
I was going to say pause.
take a
Drink.
sip. We are going to be going live on our locals page in 2021 here. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to start doing the 1 hour after hour streams. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to do these normal streams every Tuesday and Saturday, maybe even more.
Maybe more.
Tuesday and Saturday, we're going to be doing live streams for an hour and a half, 2 hours or so, whatever it is. And then after that, there's going to be a members only hour continuation of the live stream that anybody who's with us on locals can continue to watch on that platform exclusively. So, this way we can give everybody the content, which I want to do. I want to make sure everyone has the availability of the content. But for those who want to help support the message and help us get the word out, and they want to support the ideas that we're trying to spread,
Yeah.
they can give a little bit of $5 or whatever, and then they get to hang out with us on a more personal level.
Yeah. We'll
on
talk
the
about
stream.
we'll talk about a little bit more about, like, not like all personal stuff, but little personal stuff. We'll be able to curse a little bit more.
The whole point of locals, guys, is that there's no censorship, self-censorship required, okay?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to get kicked off of locals, but we have to be careful with what we talk about here on YouTube.
Yeah, we have to.
So when you guys join us on locals for the hour after stream, it's not going to be any planned content where, okay, guys, on the after stream, we're going to talk about this, and this. No, it's really just about interaction directly between us and you.
Yeah.
Like, we bullshit a lot here in the chat. We got a lot of guys who are very active in the chat, and we talk
Yes.
about that a lot here. But that's going to be the focus of what the locals.com stuff is going to be. It's all about user interaction and no censorship on our part.
Yeah.
So we can talk about everything that we really want to talk
Yeah.
about.
But
So-
we can't talk about on this stream or whatever.
So anyway, the link to my locals.com account or whatever page is in the description. So if you're interested in checking out the after hour streams, that's going to be in the description from now on. And like I said, we're going to start that in 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
So you've got 2 weeks to
So it's going to
sign up for
be the new year, and we'll be on locals and doing a little after hours uncensored little thing for y'all.
that. Tomasi says, I like watching you guys on 80-inch 4K. Hey, if Comcast offered a high enough bandwidth, I would do 4K for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Vaughn says, missed the last one, y'all. Feeling nice and healthy now. Yes, sir. We are back.
We're both
Back and
we're
ready
back.
to rumble.
Yeah. I mean, I give him props for being able to go live without me, but even though he was sick, he was much sicker than I was, but I was still feeling blue, and I was like, I don't know if I want to get contaminated by whatever you got.
Yeah.
I don't know what you had, and I don't know what I had, but it was just a weird sequence of events.
We had this and that. I still think I had the COVID, but I
I think you did too.
I don't have my sense of taste back yet.
Yeah, that's why I think you had it, because you said that your sense of taste is really off, and people that I've known that have gotten COVID said that that's one symptom, is that the sense of taste doesn't come back for a while. And my sense of taste is back. Like, I don't think I had it. I think I just had like allergies and a little bit of a sinus infection, but I think you really did have the COVID, but it was just not as not as bad as like other people have gotten it.
No.
Yeah, you're
Easy,
lucky.
I call it an easy win.
You got an easy win there.
Easy win. What's up, Dari? Sorry about that. Yeah, we had to restart the stream. Let's jump into some of the content today. So we've got an assortment of tweets and other stories that I found on Twitter that I want to share with you guys, just to point a few things out. First one here is the hypocrisy of corporate liberalism in two headlines. And we're going to talk about how Apple's lobbying against forced labor in China. And when I say arguing against forced labor, they're arguing against a bill that's going to try and stop forced labor in China. So,
oh, okay.
first tweet here.
So they are pro forced labor then.
Maybe. We'll find out. First tweet here, we've got Apple to remove master, slave, and blacklist terminology from coding platforms. So if you guys aren't aware, master and slave are very common terms used in the computer world to describe not only hardware arrangements, but software as well. And blacklist, which we all know means, if you're on a blacklist, you're excluded from something.
Yeah.
It's used in firewall terminology or security terminology, things like that.
You just educated me. I had no idea that they use master to slave in the computer
There you
world.
go. Yeah.
Damn, I had no idea.
Also, for my lighting, there's master-slave terminology. So when a light is a master, it'll automatically resend any signal it gets to anything that's labeled as a slave. That's how it works with hard drives, too. When you set up hard drives in an array, you can have one be the master and then have others be the slave to it.
So does that make computer software racist?
Yes, it does. That's exactly why Apple is removing the use of that terminology, which has been in use for decades, by the way.
That is so weird.
Yeah. No, well, now you know. So
now I know. Wow.
The point is that Apple took steps to accommodate the SJW agenda, right? They want to make sure that everybody knows that they are in line with the social justice, and they definitely don't like slavery.
Yeah.
But then, from the Washington Post, who is obviously a very reputable source.
Totally reputable.
We've got another article here said Apple is lobbying against a bill aimed at stopping forced labor in China.
Oh, so they are pro forced labor.
Well, see, this is the eternal struggle that happens when you deal with moral absolutes, and you're always trying to be the moral arbiter, and you're trying to get the moral one up on everybody else. Yeah. But you also want to have your iPhone.
Yeah, I do.
So you got to balance trying to be the moral master of the universe, but then also having your iPhone.
Yeah.
So
I'm totally fine that my iPhone was made with forced labor, though. That's the thing. Maybe that's the black-hearted of me.
If you're if you're a social justice warrior and you see the term master slave used in a context that never gets seen by the customer, you want to picket, you want to riot, protest, you want them to lose all their profit, but then when you're forced to realize that they use slave labor to make their phones, and at every step of the process, almost, because they're using like child labor to mine the lithium, and the minerals,
and child
that go
labor
into
to assemble the everything as well, probably.
They're basically slaves, but we hear no complaints from the left.
I mean, you're not gonna hear a complaint from me. I love my phone, like even if it was used with child labor. That's why I embrace it. I'm like, whatever. But when I try to talk to like the SJWs about it, they're like, they try to deny that it exists. I'm like, but it does.
Well,
because they don't want it to exist.
That's the reason why I wanted to bring this up. And we all know, everybody knows.
We all know
that hypocrisy is not an effective method of persuasion. Like pointing out hypocrisy, as we're doing right here.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, that's not going to change hearts and minds.
I'm also admitting that that's ineffective against them. They're not going to hear this and be like, oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I should either protest against everything that Apple does wrong, or I should not own an iPhone. They're never going to get to that point where they make that decision.
Because they love their phones too much, and they don't want to admit it. They just don't want to live in reality.
Right.
Yeah, and that's fine, but at least I live in reality, and I admit, I'm like, yep, my phone was probably assembled with child labor. It's cool. I don't care. Like, whatever. Take my money, because either way.
I use both an Apple and an Android, and an S9, Galaxy S9, and the iPhones are so inferior.
Yeah?
almost every day I find myself cursing my iPhone because of the inferiority of in one feature or another, whether it's battery life, connectivity, operationally speaking. I don't know. Anybody, what do you guys think in chat? Apple or Android?
I mean, I've thought about switching over to Android. I just didn't know which one to.
Oh, we're on camera one. Apple or Android?
I mean, I just didn't know which one when I decided to upgrade my phone. I didn't know which one to go with because there's so many damn Android powered phones and they all. I just didn't know what to pick with Apple. It's like, okay, iPhone 11. That's what I got. That's cool. That's what I wanted. Like, nice camera, all that good stuff. Like, take pictures of my dog. It's good.
We got a lot of people in chat who knew about the master slave terminology. So there's a lot of guys in here who like Commander Osis, Dari.
No wonder a bunch of the nerds out there are total racists.
David H says Android users are nerds. But we got everyone basically saying Android.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
and PC.
I bet everybody on here is gonna say Android because a lot of people are like you. They know a lot more than I do. I'm just the dumb girl.
Just a pleb.
I'm just a dumb girl that just wants the iPhone. When my lease is up on my phone, next time I will consult with you on what I should get when I decide to update.
Gooch with the $5 super chat.
What's up, Gooch? Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. He says, "Hey, Jeremy, glad you survived the commie cough. Much love from Texas. Hold it down in Texas for me, buddy. I'm probably coming soon.
He's coming your way, Gooch.
Coming your way, buddy. Yeah,
Giggity.
I heard. I heard the best terminology out of a Epoch Times article. They called it the CCP virus.
Yeah, they did. I heard about
I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna call it the CCP virus
instead of calling it the China virus, like a lot of people are, and then you get called racist.
Exactly. There's no way you can argue against me saying the CCP virus.
Yeah, it's
So I'm gonna say it.
It's not racist to say CCP because this is like a specific political party that's behind this virus. Mm-hmm. So, I like the Wu flu too, Dari. I think the Wu flu is great, but again, that's apparently on the cusp of being racist, quote unquote racist. Our big R word.
You got to find the sweet spot where you're getting the message across, but you're also somewhat immune to the isms.
Unless you're talking to a total idiot that doesn't know what CCP stands for. So.
Well, that's also a really quick and easy IQ test.
Yeah, all right, that's true.
People are like, CCP, what's that?
I don't know what that is, but I'm just going to laugh anyways.
All right, I think this conversation is over.
All right.
Here's your drool cup and your chin strap, buddy.
Yeah, you don't know what CCP is. Like, what kind of idiot are you? What, do you live under a rock? Do you just not care about what's going on globally? Like, just not care?
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever. There's a lot of people like that, though. They just don't care.
No, they're under the fog of war because there's a fog of war right now covering information coming out of China.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to get worse with Biden.
Because I know.
We all know the Biden's in the pocket of China.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
at least like Hunter Biden is.
You're not a conspiracy theorist if you say that. There's well-documented cases where him and his son are doing deals with China.
Yeah.
And he never says anything bad about China. And we all know it. So...
Yeah, he loves China. He has bank accounts in China. He loves them so much that he has money in China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how much he loves them.
China.
Yeah, we all love China. We all buy everything from China, just about. We have such a symbiotic relationship.
I just ordered a bunch of stuff from China. Hey, I use Alibaba all the time.
I do. I love me some China too. I'm not gonna lie. I got some credit with Amazon for Christmas and. Already know I'm going to buy a few things off Amazon, and it's probably going to come from China. So
all of it does.
Most of it does.
We got an update from the World Economic Forum, ladies and gentlemen. This is a critical. Well, it's not a critical update, but it is interesting. So with this, they're starting from the bottom up, right? So what they're going to do here. Because everybody in this chat knows that we're going towards, a one world currency, a one world identification system that's going to have your COVID vaccination status built into it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What they're doing here, and this was interesting to me because it kind of laid out their strategy, is that they're focusing on the poor people first.
Oh, of course.
So they decided on the different strategies that they could have moved forward with, and then they picked this one for what I would say are rational reasons. From weforum.org,
Ooh.
1 billion people have no legal identity, but a new app plans to change that.
Oh, Apple fix everything.
So their rationalization for creating an app that will control basically everything from your bank account to your health records to your food and sustainability consumption, how you use utilities in the city, what telecommunication services you use, how you interact with the government, what kind of e-commerce you do. All of that can be placed into one app, and poor people aren't gonna fight back. You know why?
Because they're not that smart.
Because they're poor. To them, it's like getting an upgrade.
Yeah, it is.
If
I can have run everything through one app.
So if you have a cell phone that, like a dumb phone, right? But then somebody comes to you
An
and
Obama phone.
somebody comes to you and says, hey buddy, I know you don't have a bank account, but you have a phone and you do financial transactions on your phone. Wouldn't it be great if I just give you this app that will not only give you legal representation, but will also have a built-in bank account, health records, all that stuff? Of course they're going to say, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up. I don't have to like hold on to this stuff like for myself. I just put it all on the phone.
Because to them, for the poor people in the world, that's an upgrade.
Yeah, it is an upgrade.
But when you try to sell that idea to us, like free people,
us normal people, free-thinking individuals.
right? Because what they're targeting with this is not
Because
Americans.
I'm poor, but I wouldn't sign up for that shit.
Well, they're not targeting Americans with this.
Yeah, they're not.
But yeah, for us, you're like, wait, whoa, what? What do you mean? I already have an app for my bank. I already have an app for my healthcare.
Yeah.
I already have apps for all this
I have
stuff.
everything that I need, and you guys want to sell me just one app to run everything.
That's why I said that this strategy is good, because they're selling it to the poor people, starting it there first.
Poor,
and they're gonna make it normalize it through giving it to the poor people.
And then it's
first.
just gonna come here and ruin everything in America.
Probably.
I mean, it's already fucked up.
Continuing on from weforum.org. Without an ID, they can't open a bank account, get a loan, or even vote.
Well, then get a night.
Aid Tech is the name of the app. A legal identity is not just about opening a bank account. Access to healthcare and your right to vote. Your right to vote will also be tied into this app.
Oh, okay. Good luck with that.
Just under 1 billion people in the world can't prove who they are, according to the World Bank, which is a reputable source. You definitely want to listen to them. It's not an issue that tech entrepreneur Joseph Thompson has found a way to tackle.
Wait, don't like all.
Or it is an issue that he found a way to tackle.
Don't all like the wealthiest people own the World Bank, or is it like the Rockefellers?
That's what I'm saying there.
Yeah, I was like, are you being sarcastic or are you being?
That was definitely sarcasm.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm like, God, Jeremy, really?
The UN. So this next paragraph is titled a UN goal.
Okay. Okay. Of course, it's the UN.
With that in mind, ensuring everyone has a legal identity, including birth registration, by 2030. So we have a deadline. Is one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Okay. It prompted the World Bank to launch its Identification for Development initiative in 2014. The latest data from the bank shows there are just over 987 million people in the world who have no legal identity, down from 1.5 billion in 2016, which is good. The majority live in low-income countries where almost 45% of women and 28% of men lack a legal ID.
Yeah, well... Maybe like get these countries to a more sustainable place to where they can give their citizens legal identities. Like, what the hell? Like, it's not up to the UN to give legal identity to countries that can't run themselves and can't give legal identities to their own citizens.
No, we are digitally colonizing these people's
little
countries.
bit, yeah, kind of.
Literally
it's a digital colonization for sure.
That's literally what this is.
That's nuts.
I would expect leftists to be up in arms over this, because
they want this.
You're going into countries where they, like you pointed out, which is a great point, they don't have the infrastructure to implement this, or the enforcement capabilities. But the UN enforcement,
you bring the UN soldiers in,
superseding the local governments, the state, country governments, and implementing their own global ID system. Like, whoa!
Sounds like a great idea, folks. The UN is such a good idea. Like, the UN always has what's like the best interests for folks at heart. Like, always.
Stalking Horse says low income equals Africa.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Mostly,
yeah.
Mostly
I mean,
Africa.
You could probably count what's a poor South American country, or Kazakhstan, or like Pakistan. Like, they're pretty poor over there, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Stalking Horse on that one. I visualize Africa for most of this stuff being implemented.
Africa is usually always the testing ground for everything bad.
It is.
It is. It sucks.
true.
I hate saying that, but it's true. It really is.
Dari says a good word in chat that I want to bring attention to because this is what I wanted to point out with this whole effort. So, on a big picture scale, what you're seeing here is the exact opposite of what I've been trying to advocate for, which is decentralization. This
is total centralization.
Complete and absolute centralization. Good call out, Dari. They centralize them via their religion or whatever else means they can get. In this case, it's going to be an app, which, yeah, centralization, I think, in any case, is something you want to avoid at this point. Which is really just another term for globalism.
Yeah, that's what they want, essentially, is they want...
The globalists.
The globalists.
The globalists are coming for you.
Instead of it being just like you're American, you're a French, you're a British, you're a human. And we have a global government running everything. That's what they want. That's what we've always wanted. I mean, that's basically what Star Trek has been doing for decades and implanting in people's brains.
Yeah, no, Vaughn says if you have all of your stuff digital, they can mess with you easier. I have to give the PG version of that. So much better for them. That's true. Easier for them to track. Easier for them to know, what you're up to, where you are, what you're doing, what your history is.
They want that's what they.
You want to be a global citizen? Would you like to know more?
Yeah, call 1-800. Toll free 1-800.
Stalking Horse says centralization where localization does not exist. We'll see what's good. Okay, here's another thing.
You're kind of right there because in a lot of these countries, localization doesn't exist. Like there's no counties, there's no towns, there's none of that. They usually just have like a government, which is just quote unquote just whoever has the most guns and the most people behind them with guns.
At a country level.
Yeah, at a country level.
That you never really see or interact with.
Yeah, that you never see or interact with.
But think about this also. It's on the cultural side of things. How is this going to homogenize everything? If everyone has to use the same app for the healthcare, for their transportation, for their utilities, for all this stuff, doesn't it kind of limit the range of how different systems can grow? If you're kind of, what they're doing is they're grabbing all these poor countries in a net and saying, we don't want any of you to develop or evolve independently. We want you to evolve and develop under our guidelines,
our pretenses,
our regulations, our control,
because we know what's best.
Well, and if these countries actually
you guys need it,
if they become developed in the future, which some cities in Africa are, like Lagos is fairly
that's the capital of Nigeria,
fairly developed, and it's fairly technologically advanced, but it's still a little bit behind.
They're behind, but they're getting there. They're kind of paving the way for West Africa.
When China comes in and buys and develops all of Africa,
which they have pretty much done.
Which is what I'm saying. This infrastructure is going to be in place for China to basically have control, because we know who controls, the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, and all that stuff. It's going to be, the structure's already going to be in place for them to enforce whatever they want to do. They're literally enslaving. Okay, so it might be a slightly hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Just a slightly hyperbole disclaimer, but they're kind of enslaving an entire country by forcing them. Well, okay, so again, they're not forcing anybody.
They're not forcing, but it's a form of slavery.
By pushing them into this system, theoretically speaking, if everybody in Africa were to get on this app and use everything centralized for their healthcare, utilities, all that stuff, it's just gonna, like I said, it lays the framework for control for whoever happens to China own and want to grow and develop that entire continent.
Yeah, well,
remember, we're talking about an entire continent.
Yeah, they want the entire continent. That's China's ultimate goal, is to develop and try to take over an entire continent. That's what they've done here on the west coast of the United States, not gonna lie. They're just like buying up stuff and taking up all the resources and brainwashing the people to believe whatever they want them to believe, whatever propaganda they put out for us. It's like, believe us.
Yeah, and cryptocurrency, David H. brings up a good point in chat. Crypto has a public ledger that's available to everyone. So, but everyone's answer to this centralization is, we'll just use crypto.
No,
But
that doesn't work. That
cryptocurrencies
leaves,
like Bitcoin
yeah,
have a public ledger where literally
that
every
leaves a trace.
transaction
It leaves a trace.
that's ever been made is publicly available.
Yep. Everything
So
leaves a trace.
maybe a different kind of crypto, maybe not Bitcoin,
And then
maybe
whatever,
a privacy-minded crypto.
and then whatever methods you find out to avoid public record of your transactions being on the wherever, these entities will find ways to figure out how to get into those places. There's a thing, it's
they're
called,
definitely going to try.
they're called like forensic accountants. They are like people who like go in and like find records, even just forensically. It's crazy.
Or they'll come up with systems to regulate those so that you can't use,
Well, they always, yeah.
I mean, right now for cryptocurrency, if you want to buy some, it's a pain in the ass. You have to sign up to Coinbase and you have to give them your ID, your address, everything. Then they have to verify it with a picture of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're holding up a stupid sign that says, "Hey, Coinbase, please give me an account," and then you can buy cryptocurrency and then transfer it into different kinds, but they could shut you down at any time for no reason at all.
Whatever they feel.
So you have no easy access to these what do they call them? They call them markets, not markets, but like Binance, which is a place where you trade, different cryptocurrencies. Very hard to access. Even right now, they could easily lock that down.
Yeah.
So we're not
It's up
really
on the air,
we're not really at a point where we can have an alternative system for currency yet, but I think we're getting close.
I mean, the best currency is just your skills. That's what my mom always told me.
Skills?
Skills.
Oh, skills. That's right.
That's your best currency
Bartering.
right there. Bartering. That's what my mom does with her skills. Cause my mom is an accountant or like bookkeeper. So that's how she makes money and sometimes she doesn't even make money. She'll like have clients where they run this kind of business and she'll do their books and she's like, okay, we'll do this service for me and I'll do your books for free. It's the oldest system in the book.
Right.
If you know what your skill is, that's the easiest way to...
So the problem with that is you have to have a skill.
Yeah, you have to have a skill. Not everybody has a skill.
Nobody has skills.
She has a very good skill, and she's a very good bookkeeper. That's the thing.
What can I trade for my gender studies knowledge?
Nothing. What can I trade for my lesbian dance theory?
My art history?
Yeah, my art history.
I can't get food for my art history knowledge.
Hell, even like let's be like science. Like people always like I have a bunch of friends who have like science degrees or like they went for chemistry or whatever. They're like, oh, I can't make any money or I'm paying more money in taxes, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that's what happens. Like sometimes you have to have a skill besides like what you have a degree for. You gotta have something other than what your degree says you have.
Commander O's says it, the right word. He says they're dead weight.
Some of them depends on what
they're dead weight.
But guys like Jeremy over here that were smart and went to school for something that is in demand. That's a whole nother thing. That's why I try to encourage people. It's like, hey, instead of going to school for a gender studies degree, why don't you take a welding class and learn how to freaking weld or learn how to work on a car? Because people are always going to need their cars fixed. Trades. Go to trade school. HVAC technician.
We're preaching to the choir here. I think everybody in chat.
Pretty much everybody in chat probably has a skill, and they're like, "Yeah, we know what you're talking about."
Everybody in here already knows college is bullshit.
Yeah, college is pretty much bull.
It's a scam.
It's a total scam.
Unless you're gonna get like a STEM degree.
Yeah, STEM.
A really well-researched STEM degree.
Even doctorate. It's like sometimes it's like not even worth being a doctor nowadays.
TV computer, new username. Haven't seen that before. Welcome
What's up,
to the chat.
TV computer?
If you're still here, anyway.
If you're still here.
He says public ledger doesn't link to government identity unless you choose to allow it to. That is true. It only links you to a wallet address. So if they can link a wallet address to you, they can find out which is the problem with Coinbase because you have to give your identity to them, so they know they can associate identity with a wallet. But inherently, your identity is not available in the ledger. So.
Oh,
good point, TV computer. Thank you. You think you're going to be used Federal Reserve notes for the rest of your life? Yeah, exactly. No.
Right? No.
I would say no to that.
We're going to switch. We're going to make a switch eventually, but we're still on that cloth material in our pockets. I mean, I like having bills. Like it's nice.
Well, see, TV computer follows up with another comment. He says that the trick is to work for it directly, get paid anonymously in crypto by clients.
Huh.
And that, I think, is...
I know a lot of people that have tried to get me to give them money so that way they can invest in their Bitcoin accounts and then give me money back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do all that. Like, what if you lose my money? Then what?
Wait, what do you mean in a crypto transaction?
No, so I've had people that are getting into like Bitcoin, and they'll like hit me up. They're like, hey, I'm trying to like do this, this, and this. So if you give me like this amount of money, and I'll
Try to get you to invest in them or
yeah,
something?
try to invest in them as like as an
no.
investor. And
God,
I'm like, no,
God,
like
no.
that's such a like no, I'm not that much of an idiot.
No.
Like, come on, I'm not
Definitely don't do that.
I'm not gonna give you like a couple hundred of my dollars, like that I don't have a lot of, so that way you can invest it in something that might get shut down. Like that's just not smart. Like no.
Well, Tomasi says before we wrap up the whole conversation here on the college and stuff like that, because we got a little bit off topic, but
Yeah, we did. We totally did. Sorry, y'all.
I'm trying to keep in mind of where the topic is and then where we are. So relatively
get off,
speaking, we're a little
yo.
off, but the conversation is good. So
I know.
we're flowing. Okay, so we're in a flow state right now. Tomasi says, I would have enjoyed learning for learning's sake. I do think in some sense you need people to study useless degrees to have free thinkers and artists. That is also 100% correct.
True, we do need free thinkers and artists.
But there's a differentiation, and I've talked about this before. I talk about this a lot because I'm one of the rare guys that paid for his own degree and worked my ass off as I was going through college. So I've had to debate or argue with a lot of people who are on the other side of things, like, oh, well, college should be free or this and that. So what you have to understand, and basically what Tomasi is saying in a nutshell, is you have consumption goods and investment goods.
Yeah.
A consumption good is going to school to learn gender studies
Yeah.
or art history. You're consuming it without any expectation that it's going to be an investment for you in the future. Whereas I went to college for cybersecurity, or if you go to school for computer science or some kind of engineering, you're getting an investment. That's an investment good.
It is.
You're not consuming it for the pure enjoyment that you get from consuming it by just going to school and having the fun time of learning about music or art or whatever it is. You're going there and paying specifically because you want it to be a return in the future. 99% of people who go into college, these 18-year-olds, they have no idea that there's different kinds of degrees. So they see a gender studies or an underwater basket weaving with feminism. They're
like, yeah, let's do that.
They think that they're going to make money with that degree.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And you can't.
Yeah, it's a very, very niche market.
I agree with you 100%, Tomasi. I think college should be more... We just need to have the degrees differentiated. So guys can go to college at 40, 45, 55 to learn about art, music, whatever it is. But when you're trying to become economically viable as a young adult, you want to get an investment degree.
So like save the art classes for the old folk that have done their time. And
exactly.
And and if you want to be young and an artist, don't go to college.
Exactly.
It's like if you want to be an artist, you don't need to go to college to be an artist. You really don't.
That's also true.
You really don't. It just depends on like how much success you want and what kind of artist you are. Like there is a place for artists in the world. Like I agree. Because I'm a singer and I agree we do need artists. But I think when you go to school and you waste tens of thousands of dollars to go to school to learn to become an artist, it's like you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars to learn to become an artist. You should just already be one. Like it's already in you. You don't need to yes, you do need to invest in learning certain skills, but you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars to go to a college professor to be like, hey, teach me how to sing. It's like, no.
Amen to that, especially when you got YouTube these days.
You got YouTube.
You can learn anything on YouTube.
You've got all kinds of, I have people just that have had vocal classes and they have given me instruction on how to be a better vocalist. And that has helped me out way more than if I went to college and tried to study how to be a singer at college.
We could do a whole stream on college.
We could. College is such a
But
waste.
we have more pressing matters at hand.
From the WHO.
From the World Health Organization, I want to show you guys what I found here. Very interesting change of definitions. Now, we all know that language and the culture war, the social justice warriors love to use language and words as one of their main weapons. So they'll change the definition of words to serve their purposes.
They
and
go into
things
the
like that.
dictionary.com and change the definition of stuff or just delete it entirely.
That's
So
right.
that way it doesn't exist.
Right. So from the World Health Organization, we have a side-by-side comparison here of the coronavirus COVID-19 page, specifically on the topic of immunity, antibodies, and serology, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but we have a specific paragraph here that says, what is herd immunity?
Oh, God.
And from the June 9th, 2020, here's the definition of herd immunity. Well, herd immunity is the indirect protection from an infectious disease that happens when a population is immune, either through vaccination or immunity developed through previous infection. This means that even people who haven't been infected or whom an infection hasn't triggered an immune response, they are protected because people around them who are immune can act as buffers between them and an infected person. The threshold for establishing herd immunity for COVID-19 is not yet clear.
So that was the old definition.
So that they kind of had to throw a little disclaimer there at the end that the threshold for establishing herd immunity is not yet clear. And the threshold, let's be clear, in this usage, they're talking about what percentage of the population needed to get COVID in order for us to reach what would be considered herd immunity. Now, let's fast forward to the 13th of November from 2020 as we're approaching the release of the vaccine and just coming off of the election.
Yep.
This is the new definition of herd immunity. Herd immunity, also known as population immunity, is a concept used for vaccination in which a population can be protected from a certain virus if a threshold of vaccination is reached.
Oh, okay.
You notice any difference there?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying the first...
They completely removed
Yeah.
the idea that immunity can be developed through previous infection.
Yeah, they did. I was going to say, they completely deleted that.
It's 100% reliant now
on the vaccination.
on vaccination in
That's
the,
not
in the new
right.
definition, which I don't think, I'm not a biologist, but I don't think that's biologically correct.
I don't think that's biologically
Any
correct
biologists
either.
in chat, chime in.
Yeah,
'cause,
chime in. Let us know if we're wrong.
This to me seems like basically just propaganda.
It is propaganda.
Herd immunity is achieved by protecting people from a virus, not by exposing them to it. What?
What? Okay, so when I was a kid and my mom exposed me to chicken pox, so that way I got chicken pox in me and I never got it as an adult. That's a totally like misnomer. That's not a thing.
I don't know if chickenpox is the same because I think you only get that really like once. But
But now they have the chicken pox vaccine, so you don't even need to get exposed to it,
well, let me Google the search the definition of herd immunity.
right?
It's the first result is directly from where we just looked at.
Wow, from the WHO.
Google's a result is the WHO page. A portion becomes immune to a disease, making a spread of the disease from person to person. Okay, so the Mayo Clinic does not specify vaccination. WebMD also does not specify vaccination. So I don't know about you guys, but I have never considered vaccination to be the main method. Herd immunity is a concept that you use when you're talking about the natural progression of a virus through a population without any external influences, including a vaccine. It just means that if a certain percentage of the population gets that disease,
Yeah.
then they have immunity to it moving forward to a point to where it's not going to spread
Yeah.
at a high rate.
That's what I've understood
That's
it as
always
as well.
what I thought it was.
That's what I thought it was too.
Maybe I'm a retard, but
Maybe we both are.
some-
Or as what is that? Steeg in chat says now they say the chicken pox thing we did as a kid is bad. Yeah, they did. Even after I got exposed to the chicken pox, my school that I went to, they were trying to force my mom to get me the chicken pox vaccine when I was like a teenager. And my mom was like, she doesn't need a chicken pox vaccine. She's been exposed to it already. She doesn't need it.
Right.
And they were like, but she does. She needs it. And my mom was like, no, F you. She's not getting it.
Use DuckDuckGo. Good suggestion. Yeah, that's a good idea. But the question is that I have, because at the Weekly Narrative channel, we're all about questions.
Because we're alt-center and we like to ask
We're
questions.
alt-centrists, so what we do here as an alt-centrist is we don't proclaim stances on things. We just ask questions to help us reach a clearer picture of what's actually going on. So my question in this particular instance
Okay.
is, did the definition of herd immunity actually change between June and November? Or, after the definition, as far as I can tell, remained constant for decades? Herd immunity being a certain amount of people get sick, then there's no more spread. Or is it propaganda? What do you think is more likely?
I think it's more likely propaganda.
Is it also coincidence
especially like the time frame of when the definition changed on the WHO's website.
Exactly. That's the thing that makes it peculiar is that the timing of the change of the definition just happens to coincide.
With election.
I'll call it a coincidence at this point because I'm generous with the release of the vaccine and right after the election.
Just happens to be in that period of time is when they decide to change the definition of what herd immunity is.
Yep.
So that way it just confuses people like me and you we've been told something our whole lives and then we just all of a sudden get told something different.
Well, how confusing is that? If you're just a regular person who's going through life, you're not too politically involved, you're not paying attention to this kind of stuff. Up until now, you're 50 years old and you've always understood that herd immunity just meant that a certain amount of people get it, then they're immune, then it doesn't spread that much.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
It's unless they go with people that haven't had it.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden the entire definition of herd immunity is based off of vaccination.
Yeah, making sure that a certain populace is vaccinated that way it doesn't spread.
So how does that apply? Here's another question, follow-up question. How does herd immunity, if they're building in the vaccination into the definition, how does that apply for diseases that don't have vaccinations?
Right? They're kind of digging their own grave here.
They didn't really think this one through.
They really didn't.
Because as you know, as we're thinking it through, we're just coming up with this on the fly. That doesn't make much sense. If there's a disease that doesn't have a vaccination for it, by WHO's definition now, there's no such thing as herd immunity possible for that.
Yeah, there's no herd immunity for anything like that. Yeah, they didn't really think this one through, Jeremy. You know, and these are supposed to be they're supposed to be the World Health Organization. These are supposed to be the health experts. These are supposed to be the doctors and the scientists who understand human beings and our immune systems and how our bodies work better than anybody. And they're redefining things that have been pretty set in stone and pretty well understood for generations. And now we're all of a sudden just going to change it right after an election, right during the midst of a pandemic where people are dying and yada, 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 and all that stuff.
That's true. And also, TV Computer brings up a good point in chat. He says, I would think the term herd immunity could be applied to herds of animals too. Obviously.
Yeah, we are animals, technically.
Probably where the term came from in the first place. But he says there's probably not much vaccination going on there. So again, look at this from a perspective of just diseases that spread in the wild. I think that's how this term was originally meant to be used, where it just spreads naturally through a population of animals, not necessarily humans.
Mammals.
Yeah, so my bullshit sensor is going off on this one.
Nowadays, they are giving freaking vaccinations and stuff to cows and chickens and stuff and all these animals that we consume. Antibiotics, mumbo jumbo, yada yada yada. Don't eat meat, all that PETA propaganda.
Well, so here's the red flag for me. Before we even really dig in and try to examine what's going on with this, is that the base level thing that everyone should see here is the attack method that they're using.
Yeah.
Which is just changing definition of the words.
Or deleting it. But
who else have you seen in the last 10 years who has constantly just been changing the definitions of words? Rational, logical, senseful people, or crazy, weird, mentally ill? I don't want to assign any political affiliations, but it's not correlated with stability and sane people, I would say.
Right.
Nobody on the right or on the conservative side of things is trying to change definitions of any word.
But they don't want to. They want to keep it. They want to keep it the same.
It's not that they don't want to. They don't need to.
They don't need to.
Because they're not weaponizing language.
Well, in the leftist side, we have, because we're over here like, how many genders are there? And we say 2, and they're like, no way, you're weaponizing the word gender and saying that there's only 2.
Words are violence.
Words are violence. So that's why they get away with it, because they have convinced a lot of people that words are violence. If you say something or you don't say anything at all, that's violence.
Yeah, well,
that's why people are okay with them changing definitions of stuff.
That's the more we talked about moral anchors, and I think the last stream, and how they have to have a moral anchor in order to make something effective, like an attack, such as a word definition attack. I'm just coming up with terminology out of my ass right now.
Yeah.
Word definition
Word
change
definition
attack.
check.
A definition attack. Let's call it that. A definition attack. It's similar to like a dictionary attack with hacking where you blast a bunch of passwords at an account. But a definition attack requires a moral anchor, which is exactly what you said, which is words are violence. So if you don't use the right words, then it's violence. Now it has a moral tie.
Yeah. So now it's okay to change the words.
Yes.
And change the definitions of them.
Right. And enforce
and
usage.
enforce those definitions,
Enforce
that usage, and enforce people use and understand it correctly. We're gonna put that in the school textbooks and teach our kids that now in biology class, because that's where I learned about herd immunity, was from biology. My biology teacher taught me about it, and he taught me the same way that you did.
Yeah.
That it's certain amount of people get a disease or a virus or whatever, and they become immune to it, so that way it doesn't spread. It's basically like everybody gets it, so that way nobody gets it.
So the angle that I always take is trying to see what someone who opposes us, what their argument would be. So in this case, what I'm thinking of in my head is they would say, well, the definition of words just change naturally over time as we get more information.
Okay.
That's what they would say.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would say. And you're just
But
like,
again,
okay.
I would reference back to my mention of how coincidental the change in definition of, for decades we've had this definition of herd immunity, which all of a sudden now changes a month before the vaccine goes live.
Yeah. And like right after the election happens, and
That is
and
like,
the person that a lot of people want to be president starts using the term herd immunity.
if that was a completely organic updating of the definition of the word herd immunity, that would be a crazy coincidence on the scale of like a galactic alignment where all of the planets in the Andromeda galaxy are exactly in a 90-degree angle with the planets in the Milky Way. Like, no. It's not even,
And
the probability of that happening organically
very,
is nearly impossible.
Yeah, I agree. But they would say that it happened. That they would double down and say, "Yep, that's exactly what happened." They probably would be like, "Yep, that's exactly what happened. How did you know?"
That's
The
funny.
planets aligned, and then words in the dictionary and the words that the WHO recognizes,
All minus one.
they change it.
No, you're right. You're right. All minus one. New name in chat. Haven't seen that around. Welcome to the chat, by the way.
Welcome, all minus one.
He says, trust the party line, friends. Ink Sock knows best. Which is a 1984 reference.
Then I think Josiah's talked about the WHO, and I agree. But that's the thing, Josiah. The WHO is not reputable anymore. I'm trying to make a joke about it, and also that's what it used to be about. It used to be like the World Health Organization, so they should be the experts and they should be this. But
I think they used to have some degree of credibility.
But now we don't live in should land, and they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's why we shouldn't take everything they say seriously.
Hey, Stalking Horse brings up a good point. Jupiter and Saturn are aligned right now out there, so maybe
there's something going on, Stalking Horse. Oh, I wanted to see Jupiter and Saturn the other night when they were out, but it was foggy that night, so I couldn't see anything. I was sad. I was very sad.
Not that window.
I was gonna say, not this window. You can't really see. And plus, we're in the city. We're right in the heart of the city.
I tried, man. Come on.
We're right in the heart of the city too. So seeing any kind of stars or any kind of planets right now is kind of damn near impossible.
Yeah, let's see. All minus one. You got a YouTube channel, man? Let's check it out. He says he does similar work here on CorpoTube.
Okay, cool.
CorpoTube. I like that reference as well. We're gonna get along really well. All minus one, I can tell, because I know you've been playing some Cyberpunk using the word corpo.
Yep.
Let's see. Osa says Maisie Hirono said sexual preference was an offensive term when interviewing Coney Barrett.
Oh, I know.
Webster's changed the definition like 2 hours later. Perfect example. Exactly correct. And we covered that.
We did.
Right here on the stream.
You got my input on my whole take on them, Amy Coney Barrett using sexual preference, and I don't care. She was actually correct in saying sexual preference, because it is a preference.
This is a perfect way to wrap up this segment here with exactly what Osa said, is that they have literally, when we're talking, because the reason I bring this up is that the definition attack, we'll call it, is one of their weapons that they use. We've seen this implemented many times before, clear as day. The best case possible that you could point to as a reference is exactly what Osa said, is when Maisie Hirono said sexual preference was offensive when interviewing Andy Comey Barrett, and Webster's Dictionary changed the definition almost immediately.
Almost immediately, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they knew that people were going to go and Google it or go on their website and check it out.
Exactly. All the articles that are being written about it, we're going to reference, the definition and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was such a stupid attack that they did on her.
There's no question that we're, the definition attack, as I'm going to reference it from now on, is one of the most profound tactics that they use.
The thing is, it's effective. I've noticed that a lot of conservatives use the definition attack on the libtards, but the thing about the libtards is instead of looking up the definition and fixing their argument points to meet whatever the conservative definitions of things are, they just go ahead and just change the definition entirely because they know they can't win.
So my definition of the definition attack is that you change the definition of a word.
Yeah.
Now you're saying the conservatives have used that?
Yeah, the conservatives use that all the time.
They've tried to change the definition of words?
Well, no, they haven't tried to change the definition of words. But they try to argue like when they're trying to do an abortion argument, like what is a fetus? And the leftists will say it's a blah 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 parasite, blah blah blah, instead of saying it's an unborn child. So instead of learning the definition, like what I'm saying is instead of the leftists learning the definitions of things and like forming their argument to go off of the definitions that the conservatives use, they just go and change it entirely and go in Webster's and change the definitions of things entirely.
So I wouldn't consider that the conservatives using
no, they're not doing the definition of attack, changing definition.
Well, see, that's the problem with the conservatives, is that they stick to the orthodox stuff so tightly.
They do.
That it weakens them.
It kind of does a little bit.
They're like, but wait, no.
And then when
begins at conception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say is that the reason that the definition attack has happened on the left is because they know that they can't use.
Well, that's what I said. It's effective.
It's so effective. It's so pathetic. And oh my God, I hate the leftists. Like, I really don't hate very much, but I hate them because
I don't hate them.
You don't even feel bad for them, do you?
I do pity them.
A little bit?
Yeah. No. Once you take a determinist mindset on things, you realize that they're leftists because they're losers.
Yeah,
in some aspect of life. So it's not their own fault.
It's not their own fault. They've got so much against them.
Speaking of COVID.
Okay, we're gonna go on COVID now.
Let us take a look at the vaccine distribution in a large scale example here. Namely, Chicago. Namely, not namely. Excuse me, pulling this up here.
Pause, folks.
So Chicago is obviously one of the most populated cities in the country, and they've had a chance now, some time, to distribute the vaccines. And I just wanted to take a look and see if you guys can notice anything interesting about these numbers. So let me make sure this is visible from the stream here. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. I'm not going to log in or sign up. Just get over it.
Get over it, Twitter. We don't want to sign up for your crap.
Okay, here we go. So what you're looking at, just for those who are listening on the podcast version, sorry, but this is a visual graph that we're going to be talking about here. So there's 3 bars, a black bar, a blue bar, and a red bar. The black bar is the percentage of the Chicago population that the particular age group represents. So the x-axis is broken down by age range. The red bar is age group percentage of COVID deaths. So the red bar is basically how many deaths are happening in that age range from COVID. And the blue bar is age group percentage total who are getting the vaccine. So what you see here is a complete inversion from the percentage of COVID deaths and the age ranges that are experiencing the most number of deaths and the vaccine distribution. Okay. So at first glance, is there anything about this that piques your fancy or maybe might stand out?
Oh, so you said the red bar is for the age group?
Red bar is the deaths.
Oh, the deaths?
Percentage of the COVID deaths. So, yeah, the first bar, all the way on the left, you got ages 18 through 29. 18 to 29. And on the far right is the age 80 plus.
Okay.
There's no red bar for the 18 to 29 group.
Yeah.
And there's a giant red bar
for the 80 plus.
80
I was gonna
plus.
say there's like a really big discrepancy with the red bar for the old folk as opposed to the young folk.
That's what I'm saying. And the vaccine distribution, which is the blue bar, the percentage of that, percentage of vaccine distributed to that age group is peaking in ages 30 to 39. The second highest peak is in 18 through 29, where all the deaths are happening between ages 60 to 80.
Yeah,
80 plus.
it seems like it's just old folk people that are dying from it.
So I think now this particular tweet that I got from Mike Cernovich, actually, this is his commentary on it. COVID vaccines are being delayed as part of the Democrats' broader plan of genocide of the elderly. Governor Cuomo began this with his nursing home executive order.
A little bit.
So I'm actually going to take kind of a little bit of a contrarian take on this particular issue.
Okay.
Because this graph, it does look damning. But what I did was I actually researched Chicago's distribution plan. They have this all laid out in a document about how they're going to distribute the vaccine, who it's going to go to, and in what phases. And although I do want to tend to agree with Cernovich in that they want to genocide elderly people, especially elderly white people, because we've already seen in other cases where they've prioritized the vaccine to people of color.
Oh yeah.
Or at least talks about it.
Yeah, they're
Although
like
maybe it doesn't haven't been implemented yet. But in this particular case, the COVID distribution, the vaccine distribution plan for Chicago stated that they want to distribute the vaccine to frontline healthcare workers first.
yeah, because they're being exposed all the time.
Although I do want to believe that there's a genocide because it fits my narrative that the leftists are evil and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, I did a little extra research. I found out that Chicago is prioritizing frontline workers, which would be that age group. That would be the 30 to 39 age group. But also, I think it was in phase 1C or phase 1B is nursing home people.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, because I'm not going to give them a full pass on this. The problem is they're labeling nursing home people, not specifically nursing home. They're saying people who are dependent on care of others, which is nursing home people. How many old people don't live in nursing homes?
Right. There's a lot of them.
And did they put that clause in there just so they could avoid like a Cuomo type situation, where he just basically burned down all the nursing homes with COVID?
Yeah, just sent people that were infected with COVID back to their homes to infect everybody else.
So yeah, Dari's saying eugenics in chat. I don't know if that qualifies as eugenics.
I don't know if it qualifies as eugenics because it's not one race. It's just old folk.
Yeah, can you do eugenics by age?
Like elderly eugenics?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there like some kind of a kind of eugenics of elderly folk? Maybe. There's there's probably a lot of elderly folk in Chicago too.
Yeah, no, Stalking Horse called it out. He says old people are not getting the vaccine, but they are most likely to die.
Yeah,
So this is the challenge to what I just tried to explain, which was Chicago's stance, which is that we want to give it to our frontline healthcare workers first.
Yeah.
But if you look at the death rates for that age range, if I just pop this back up real quick here so you guys can see. Whoa.
Oh no, sorry, yo guys.
Earthquake.
Production quality is off the chart.
2.3% death rate for that age group that got the most vaccines. So they got 39% of the vaccines, but their death rate is only 2.3%. And that's for people aged 30 to 39.
Well, they're just zombifying people, really.
So I understand that you would want to give it to them because they are on the front line. They're in the hospitals. They're being exposed to it more.
Yeah, but I thought old people were supposed to be the priority.
But they're not dying to it.
Yeah, they're not. They're like the people that are more likely to survive.
All I'm saying is that it goes 100% against the narrative, which is what? The narrative is Donald Trump's killing everybody.
Yeah, Donald Trump's killing the old people.
350,000 people did
Donald
Donald Trump
it's
strangled.
350 now?
I'm just guessing.
I thought it was 300 last week.
It's at least 300,000 people. Donald Trump personally went and strangled them all to death because deaths are all that matter to us.
Yeah, they don't care about all the people that survived.
But with the vaccine distribution numbers, it's very clear that we don't care about deaths.
Yeah.
Even though this is what we've been. So the whole point that I wanted to bring this up is to point out, again, there's no consistency in their narratives
Why
at all.
would there be?
If they spent any time actually thinking about it and looking at it, they would realize that, continuing on with this narrative that death surge over here, death surge over there, that's all that matters. It's obviously bullshit, because now that we have the vaccine and we know that you're not distributing it to those who are going to die most likely,
Right.
you don't care about deaths.
Yeah, you don't really care about deaths.
You don't care about deaths. You just want to use that language, that narrative as a political weapon.
It was a train, and you hopped on board on it, and you know what? Power to you. You jumped on board the train, but
That's a really tough train
that's
to
a really
jump on.
tough train to jump on.
Donald Trump is bad. Orange man bad.
Right, orange man
What
bad. That's a really hard pill to swallow, friend.
It's a very slow moving train.
That's a really slow moving, just doesn't even have the furnace fire going, like, and you're expecting that train to move.
Everybody's jumping on that train.
I know so many people that are jumping on it, and it's sad. I don't feel bad for them, because they don't care.
Low IQ folks.
Low IQ folk.
Nobody in this chat is low IQ. These people that do that and that think that Chicago's distribution strategy is good, but also say that Trump is killing people, low IQ. Way down here.
Mm-hmm. Way down.
Way down here.
Way
You can't
down.
even see it. It's not even on the screen.
I'm pretty sure people with special needs are smarter than this.
All -1 says eugenics goes back to Plato's Republic as the idea of breeding only the best and controlling the population.
Mm-hmm.
If you read early 20th century eugenics, it's about population control and growth.
Yes, that's true.
I'm not as studied up on the eugenics, which is probably a good thing, because if you talk about it, you probably get labeled as a white supremacist.
Yeah. Well, it usually gets tied to some kind of
white supremacist.
Usually gets tied to some some race, but usually white people. So even though I know plenty of black people that think that white people are disgusting and should be purged from the earth too. So
Harold Schmidt said younger minorities should get it because older people tend to be white, and that would level the playing field. Yes, that's exactly what I was referring to earlier when I said that there's already been talks about distributing it based on race.
oh my god, yeah,
Their argument literally is that white people have had advantages in the health and longevity.
so the black people need to get the first round of vaccines
That's
instead.
That's exactly it.
So if anything goes wrong and black people suffer, we can just go ahead and continue to blame it on white people.
Funny you mentioned that. Well, definitely good. Well, no, because Fauci was already boasting about how the vaccine was created by a black woman. So that's not going to work
Even if it's created by a
video.
black woman, it was founded by a black woman. It's distributed by white people.
I mean,
so.
it was created by like 8,000
I was gonna say,
people
it's
probably
created
across
by
the
a
world, but
whole
there was
team
one
of
black
people.
lady involved. So
The
Fauci went on TV and said, "Oh, it was
That
developed by a
one
black woman."
lady who was running the test for the day was the person that discovered it. So we're gonna give her all the cred.
She came in and cleaned out the clean room. Like
She cleaned it out and then took over right after that guy before her worked a full 12-hour shift of doing nothing but terrible tests.
she
And
restocked
she
the
came
latex
in.
gloves.
She came in and took over and then got it right that next
Yeah,
try,
yeah.
and she gets the cred.
No,
Oh my god.
developed by a black woman.
It was developed by a black woman, so that's how they'll give it cred.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting that you mentioned that, because now, and this is probably not going to get any press at all, but I found it.
Okay.
I found it.
You're going to see it right here on
I'm
Weekly
probably
Narrative.
I'm probably on Twitter too much. I don't know if I didn't have it actually lined up for our content, but I could probably find it very quickly here. There was a black woman who went on social media and made a video about how she got Bell's palsy from the vaccine.
Oh, I've heard a lot of people getting Bell's palsy from the vaccine.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go to look at the video for you here. I don't think. Maybe it's in the replies to my tweet that we're gonna cover later. But she made a video basically saying, "I'm a nurse. This is my name." She gave her name, so it's got an air of legitimacy to it. An air.
An error.
And she's the whole left side of her face. She couldn't control it at all.
Oh.
Yeah, and she said, I was fine for the first 3 days, and then after I got the vaccine, and then after 3 days, I lost control of my face.
Oh.
But she's black.
Oh. Okay.
So the story's not going to get covered.
Yeah, it's either not going to get covered or it's just going to get called race. It's going to be some kind of racism aspect to
Yeah.
it to get it on the mainstream media.
Right.
That's the only reason they give a shit is if it's somehow tied to racism.
Yeah. Now, so if she was also in the same video blaming a white person.
Yeah, the technician that gave me the vaccine was a white person.
Wall coverage on CNN and MSNBC all day long.
Right?
White people are.
They would set up a GoFundMe for her.
They snuck eugenics into this vaccine and they're trying to kill the blacks.
Yeah, the lady that was gave me the vaccine was a white lady, and so she was a white supremacist. So it was a race attack. It was a what's it called, hate crime.
Hate crime.
It was a hate crime.
Yep.
That's how she'll get the mainstream media on.
No,
on her.
if they give a vaccine to a white lady and she got like quadriplegic from it,
They wouldn't care.
wouldn't even care.
Yeah, you deserve. They'd probably say she deserved it.
Like, good, you can't reproduce now.
Yeah, good. You can't do shit.
You can't make any evil white children.
You can't make evil white spawns. Like, no, it's not eugenics at all, folks.
Yeah.
That's not eugenics against white people at all.
Yeah, well, as far as I can tell, the only mention of race and distribution of the vaccine has been from the left, like Osa said, where they want to prioritize minorities because the white has been advantageous. So if anybody's going to take blame for any kind of eugenicism, if that's even a word, it's going to be the left, in my book.
They're gonna...
Nobody on the right's talking about white people should get it first.
Yeah.
Everyone on the right says exactly what the data says, that old people should get it first.
Everybody on the right's like, yeah, do a vaccine.
We know leftists hate old
just
people.
Just don't give it to me. Give it to the old people first. Let them be the trial. Let them be the guinea pigs. That's what I say.
Leftists just do hate old people.
They really do. They just wish they didn't exist.
Yeah, and in between, meanwhile, as this is what nurses are up to in the meantime.
Yep.
Have you guys seen this stuff?
Yeah, I've seen this since the beginning of COVID and everything being shut down. I've seen TikToks of nurses doing this crap.
I don't understand this at all.
It's like they're supposed to be they're supposed to be on the front lines and supposed to be like wall-to-wall people, infection, but they have time to film and use up all that PPE and not have it be COVID cases. That's not right. Like, this is
Well, so this is the weekly narrative show, so we talk about the narratives, we examine the narratives. The narrative we've been trying to be sold is that hospitals are overflowing, they're full of people, they're jam-packed, nurses are running up and down the halls.
They're filming TikToks and doing all kinds of crap.
In a panic all day, all night, and yet we keep seeing constant videos, TikToks, or whatever you want to call it. If you're not aware of what TikTok is, thank the Lord, first of all, because you don't want to know.
Don't even bother.
You don't even want to know, but it's a social media cancer where people film short videos of themselves
doing stupid stuff.
Like this.
Yeah, like this.
Like what you're seeing here on the screen, for those who are just listening, is a somewhat long video of nurses and medical professionals dancing in a coordinated manner, which obviously requires a lot of camera time setup, production value, lighting,
and then time to train them how to dance.
Choreography, because they're all in sync, they're all in tune, and it just doesn't.
They're not socially distancing.
No, that's a good point too.
They're not socially distancing. That's not 6 feet.
Nope, they're all touching each other.
Like they just got all close and stuff. Like they're dancing. Like this
and it looks like they're in the hospitals too.
Yeah, they're in the hospitals too. Where are all the patients?
Wait, no, I figured it out. They're dancing because they all got the vaccine.
Yeah, they're all like, yeah, we're the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the COVID. We're the zombies now. We're going to be the zombies when they activate the microchips in our brain.
Our neighbors are like, what the hell are they talking about
in there?
I just don't understand it. That's the whole reason I want to bring this up. I thought the hospitals were burning down with low capacity.
I thought so too.
Meanwhile, we see this stuff happening.
I thought that they were supposed to be overwhelmed.
Constant basis. I'm not even on TikTok, and I somehow still managed to get this into my brain somehow.
I'm not even on TikTok either, but I still see them. I see other like conservative leaning people reposting this stuff, going, look at what the hospitals are doing. And I'm like, it's
Is anybody in chat on TikTok, can you explain this? Can anybody in chat explain this to me? Because this is something I'm legitimately confused on. I don't know why they're doing this. Is it like a marketing thing? They have angel wings on.
It's
I don't
supposed to
understand.
be. I bet you it's like some kind of gimmick to try to like make people feel better. Because a lot of people who go on TikTok are sick and can't get out of bed and want to be happy and want to see doctors and nurses, not doing their fucking jobs and
Okay, so I get that angle, but I would understand if they were actors dressed up as nurses,
Yeah.
but not the actual people
I
working in the
know.
hospital.
I know. That's
As these people are dancing, there's some guy in the hospital like, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. We got to get this dance finished filming.
Oh
Hold
my
on. Stop dying, sir. Stop dying.
I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. Go grab a drink real quick.
Anthony says, I've been pretty ill this year and I've been to many hospitals. Not once have I seen what they claim. Yeah, I've been in and out of a few for testing and whatnot, and I can also say the same thing. It's not been like a burning down situation. Osa says TikTok is CCP version of Vine. That's accurate. TikTok is owned by China.
It is.
Which is was a point of contention earlier in the year when there was discussion around banning the platform because they can probably use it to spread some propaganda.
Yeah, and then
But also-
didn't Microsoft buy it?
I think that's what happened. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't want to get too deep into the cybersecurity things, but just because I am a cybersecurity guy, I just want to point out the irony of having an application on millions of devices in America that is installed by China.
Right? China.
Just forget you even heard that though.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'll come and get us.
Yeah, a lot of sentiment in chat is saying that TikTok is cancer. I also agree with that, and I would imagine that if you guys are watching the stream, you're probably like me and you don't consume this kind of stuff.
Yeah, TikTok is total cancer. That's why I don't have one. I don't like it. My ex had one, and she would watch it when we were in bed together, and I would be like, turn that crap off. I want to, snuggle, and she'd just be like, no, look at it, it's cute. I'm like, no, it's not cute. Just turn it off. It's garbage.
Somehow, I don't know how, but they are, but it's about how brave those nurses are. Is that what it is?
Is it?
It's about how brave they are.
How brave they are
Interesting.
for, like, not taking care of their patients. Yeah, totally brave.
I mean, I can understand them having like 20 minutes of free time, but these are choreographed videos.
Yeah, these are totally choreographed. How do they, like... Yeah, this is not...
Let's see here. There's one more comment I wanted to read from... Oh, TV Computer said, the dancing nerf stuff is infuriating to me. Makes it look like there's no big deal going on at all. Maybe there isn't. Well, that's the point we're trying to make, man, is that, yeah, they make it look like there's really nothing going on. Because
I mean, they have enough time to film these fucking videos, so they have, like... I thought they were supposed to be taking care of COVID. I thought the ICUs are at capacity or whatever.
Before the COVID stuff was going on, did we see nurses dancing?
No, there was none of that on TikTok.
That's a legitimate question. I don't know if we did. I don't think we
just
did.
as somebody that like observed TikTok, didn't have it. I just observed it from like proxy. Before COVID, there was none of this kind of stuff on TikTok. After COVID, you saw all kinds of this crap on TikTok. So it wasn't a big thing until like COVID hit, and now we're like, oh, we're gonna have a little bit of fun during this hard time.
I can see it as like a stress relief thing, but
That's what they're marketing it as.
That's the extent of my imagination will allow.
Yeah, that's really what it is, Jeremy. It's just a stress relief thing. It's not. It's like, but if you really do think about it too deep, it's like, God, really?
The problem is the optics.
Yeah, it is.
That's all it is.
The optics is the...
If you do that, you make people like me think that you have too much free time. And when you make people think you have too much free time, you make me question the mainstream narrative.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep. It's not a good it's not a good optics if you're a total leftist that believe in COVID and believe in the shutdowns to have all the nurses dancing on TikTok.
That's right. But you know what? Biden's got a plan for it.
Okay. Let's hear it.
We need to rebuild.
Oh, okay.
And unite.
Okay.
And heal.
Yeah, I agree.
After a year of pain and loss from Joe Biden on Twitter, this is a short and succinct tweet from Joe Biden that we're going to examine here. It says, after a year of pain and loss, it's time to unite, heal, and rebuild.
Okay.
Quick initial thoughts without even thinking about it. What comes to your mind when you hear that and you see that tweet?
It's totally just disingenuous to me.
Disingenuous is the word that comes to your mind?
Yes. Disingenuous as hell.
That is also the notion that I receive as well.
Totally disingenuous.
Yeah, and what's up, Jason? Jason Fuchs. It's a cool last name because
Sup?
Fuchs is the last name of one of the guys in The Thing John Carpenter's The Thing, which is one of my favorite movie of all time. But that's a whole another rabbit hole. Biden wants to. This is the ultimate irony. After literally founding his campaign on the Charlottesville hoax.
Yep.
He's said this multiple times. He said the reason I wanted to run is because nobody was doing anything or saying anything about Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Which was a complete and absolute hoax.
Yeah.
Everybody in this chat knows that.
Total hoax.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, the Charlottesville hoax was the idea that Trump said that Nazis and white supremacists were fine people.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Which, if you just read the transcript of the script or watch the whole speech, you'll hear him say, and I'm not talking about the white supremacists. They deserve to be condemned totally. But, you know, again, we're in a like a language war, so that doesn't get included. But this hoax was the whole reason that Biden started his campaign. And what did he do for the entire campaign period?
Just keep bringing it up.
He kept calling half of America racist.
Kept calling us called me a racist because I support the president.
So in an environment where being called a racist is worthy of you having physical violence enacted upon you, and I think if you go out to any protest, everyone will agree that punch a Nazi, right?
Yeah, punch a Nazi.
Punch a Nazi. We all agree we want to punch Nazis,
We
right?
all want to punch Nazis.
So in an environment where everybody agreed that it was great to commit acts of physical violence against Nazis and white supremacists, what did Joe Biden do? He went around and continued to call everybody white supremacists and Nazis.
Of course, keep the lie
Half
going.
the country. So,
Keep the lie going.
And then after he wins,
has the nerve to say,
He
I
has
want
the-
fucking nerve to
he
say.
has the balls to say, "Oh, guys, let's come together.
Yeah, let's heal, unite, and rebuild.
It's time to unite now."
Yeah,
guys.
it's time to unite and heal and
So
rebuild.
you watching this right now,
You white
you're a
supremacists
Nazi,
out there.
You're a white supremacist. You deserve to have your teeth kicked in because of your beliefs. But also, unify with me.
Yeah,
How does that make you feel?
it's totally disingenuous.
That is entirely disingenuous.
Totally 100% disingenuous.
Complete BS.
Oh yeah, well I've said from the beginning that Biden radiates evil to me, so that's why I think his whole thing is disingenuous. After they finally called it for Biden, quote unquote, called it for Biden, and he was saying, "Oh, we need to unite, we need to do this, this, and this." I was like, you've been saying nothing but negative stuff about Trump for the last year on your campaign, and now you want to unite?
Rhetoric splits the entire country in half, and now, let's unite. Let's unite. To me, it's not, guys. What I'm saying here isn't against Biden. Okay, don't take what I'm saying as I'm deeply examining Biden's character and making a judgment off of his judgment values. That's not what I'm doing. It's the campaign. It's the fact that he's part of the swamp.
Yeah, he is.
That's exactly what the swamp does.
He's the top layer of the swamp, my friend.
Yeah, this is the swamp attack where you just wreak havoc, destroy everything, and they'd be like, "Oh, guys, okay, time for us to come together." Even Kamala Harris. Didn't Kamala Harris call him a racist in
Yeah,
the
she
debates?
did. She did. During the primaries for the Democrats and on the debate, she called him a racist, like on the debate stage in front of everybody.
It's just their MO.
Yeah.
So you call him a racist, and then all of a sudden you're his running mate.
I would equate Biden. So when you say like Biden is the swamp, he's like that top layer of like green stuff on top of the water, the foam stuff on top of the water of the swamp, and then Kamala is the alligator that that comes up underneath that foamy stuff and like just pushes it around.
I wouldn't give her the honor of being an alligator. She'd be like a
snake, a water snake.
Like a toad, a fat toad.
A fat toad. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give her the toad status.
But you're right. And that's the whole process. The whole process of politics in America can be analogized with the image of a swamp, where you start at the bottom as a little tadpole. You get into Congress as a 30-year-old, 35-year-old person. You follow all the rules. You repay all the favors.
And then you become a
garner
toad.
favors from other people. You evolve a little bit.
Become a total frog.
You get a little bit bigger in the swamp, and you raise your way up until finally you're at that top
Eat
level.
a few bugs.
You're at the top level of the swamp where you're not even an animal anymore. You're just so integrated into the swamp that you're now the foam at the top layer.
Yeah.
And that's how Biden got elected.
Yeah, that is. He's the total top layer of the foamy stuff on top of the water in the swamp.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And like that like it just kind of like has like steam coming off of it because there's just all kinds of like bacteria just building up in there and just creating all kinds of new science experiments. That's what Biden is.
Little kid hair in there too. It's like fermenting.
Yeah.
Because it's a Biden swamp, so there's little kid hair in there.
There's a few kid hairs in the Biden swamp.
Let's see here. Biden's a puppet of the globalists.
Yes, we agree.
That's a base level assumption here in this channel.
I mean,
we already all know that for the most part.
Most pretty educated people and people with two eyeballs that can see stuff can understand that Biden is a total puppet.
Kamal also said it was just a debate after he picked her. That's right. So she admitted exactly what we're already saying.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I called him a racist, but it was a debate.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's a pretty sorry debate tactic if you ask me.
Well, no, it's a good debate tactic.
That's not really...
that's why she had to use that excuse, because it is a good debate tactic, but it's morally reprehensible.
It's a morally reprehensible...
Which is the same dilemma we're in right now. We're looking at what Joe Biden's tweeting, saying we need to unite, and then looking at what he's actually done, which is call everybody racists worthy of having violence committed against them for the last year. And we're like, that doesn't match up.
That's what I love about whenever I try to talk to leftists about just kind of like more conservative leaning people, and they like call them a racist, and I go, how are they a racist? And they go, well, I just heard something that they said, and that makes them racist. And I said, okay, well, what specifically have they said that is racist? Because I want to know. I've heard of this.
They can never answer that.
And question. They can never do it. They just have meltdowns and then kick you out of their Lyfts or Ubers or whatever. So,
speaking from personal experience.
Yeah, speaking from personal experience. That's not gonna name names about or anything, but that happened to me.
Yep, you can hear the Kamala laughing all the way to the White House.
Yeah, she's... Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Like
Kamala's way out of her league.
She is!
Yeah, way unqualified.
I remember I did a survey, and it asked, like, how would you feel about a woman in the White House or woman as the president? And I was like, I don't want a woman as the president. Not gonna lie.
Whoa.
Not gonna lie. Unless it's, like, a good... Unless it's like my mom. Like my mom, I would want to be a president. But it's not like a gender thing. It's honestly, women just aren't as good of leaders as men. They just aren't.
Jesus, what are you trying to get me nuked off YouTube here?
I wish that we were. Like, there are women who are totally capable of it, but they're just, it takes...
Some YouTube moderators listening to this right now.
They're going to be like... No, put up... Do you still have that...
Oh.
Do you still have the angry leftists on the bottom of the screen?
SJWs, these guys?
Yes. Oh, they're all messed up. That's when you need to put up that. It's like...
That's what they're doing right now.
That's what you need to do to me whenever I say something that goes against the FJW feminist ideology. It's like, Delaney, no, don't say that.
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
Heather says, new name in chat. Welcome to the chat, by the way, Heather.
Welcome, Heather.
I see you there. He says, God help us. She says, God help us if that liver-spotted old dirtbag actually becomes president. Yeah.
He does have liver spots.
Agreed on that.
But we don't want to make fun of people who have disabilities. I don't know if liver spots is a disability.
Delaney, you're just a one-horse pony.
I know. Sorry.
That's it. And everyone else in chat talking smack about Biden, you're just a one-horse pony.
Yeah, we're all one-horse ponies up in here.
Whatever that means. I don't even know what that means, but Biden said it, so...
Don't you know that Biden is a decent man? That's literally, whenever I ask people why they voted for Biden, I'm like, why? Yeah. They're like, he's a decent man. No, he's not. That tweet right there, that's the most disingenuous filth I've ever seen anybody tweet. We need to unite. Like, no, you've been calling for ununity for months and months and months, and now you want to call for unity.
Joe Blow 2020.
Instagram follower I have, she calls him Fachina Joe. Fachina Joe.
Like for China?
Fachina, yeah. Fachina Joe. It's hella funny.
Get it.
He is for China.
Makes sense.
He's totally for China.
All right, enough talking about Joe Biden.
Let's go into some science.
Moving on. This is a hilarious story that I found the night that we finished our last stream, where I provided an analogy of the leftists being the ants infected with the fungus that makes them climb to the top of the branch
and then die
and then get killed by the fungus, because we're analogizing the brain fungus to the mind virus of leftism. And I found this story. I don't want to share it with you guys just because of the comedic value. Directly after I watched that stream, randomly, from thescientist.com. And there is a bigger point here that I want to make. This isn't just purely for comedic value, okay, guys? From thescientist.com, which is the most reputable sounding site you can possibly imagine.
Totally
so you know
reputable.
everything I'm about to say is 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Infected ants chemically attract workers to destroy them. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jeremy, this isn't the Discovery Channel. Why are we talking about ants? Hang in there.
Hang in.
Hang in there, baby bird. I'm going to bring you to the light, okay? Subtitle: Social insects kill infected individuals for the benefit of the colony, and now a study has shown how they know who's sick. So I'm not going to read a lot of this. I just wanted to briefly glance over a couple things in the first couple paragraphs here.
Okay.
In a petri dish, 3 worker ants surround a cocooned pupa from their own colony's brood. Tearing it into it with their mandibles, the ants remove the pupa from the cocoon, perforate its cuticle, and rip its body apart,
Oh, okay.
dividing it between them. Finally, the workers apply formic acid from their mouths to the eviscerated pupa, leaving behind a heap of crumpled remains. This is no random act of violence. According to Chris Pohl, an evolutionary biologist
Okay.
at the University of London, these ants were engaging in destructive disinfection, killing the pupa along with the ant-killing fungus. I'm not even going to try. That's the name of the fungus.
Yeah.
Insert name of fungus here that had infected it. The behavior evolved in social insects. Social insects. Keep that in mind there. Social insects. Such as ants, honeybees, and termites to protect colonies from infected individuals,
Okay.
says Pohl, with workers acting like immune cells called leukocytes that seek out and destroy infectious agents in mammalian bodies.
Okay.
Anything? Can you draw any analogies there to what we're experiencing in human society?
I mean, they pretty much are. They kill off the ones that are infected, so that way other people don't get infected.
That's right. So this is just actual scientific research to back up the concept that I've been talking about this whole time, where in social animal communities like America, the United States, where we have, there's a guy named Gad Saad who just came out with a book called The Parasitic Mind, I think it is, where he talks about ideas.
Yeah,
They're
parasites.
that are parasites that latch onto your mind, mind viruses like we talk about all the time.
Yep.
The mind virus of leftism
Yep. And the rightism too.
that spread throughout society, and then give you things like, normalizing chopping off body parts and pronouns and weird mental illness and suicide and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Socialism,
body-
communism,
yeah.
stuff like that. The subjugation of the productive members of society. This is the natural analogy that now we can look at and say, okay, we've seen in nature people who are remember, these same people are always, I love science.
Yeah, I'm all about science.
Science. If it's not in science, then I don't care. Now we have science.
We have science to back us.
To back up the concept of what we call the mind virus. And I'm not going to...
Ants are actually progressive because they're doing something about it.
Well, that's the second component to this. So that we have what we see now in natural communities. Somebody gets infected with a disease. In this case, it's a physical one that's going to wreak havoc and destroy the entire community. There's no welfare system in the ant colonies.
Yeah, there's not.
Where you grow up with this disease, you're like, oh, you're weak, you can't gather food.
Yeah, you'll have your own little colony over here and do your own thing. Like, no, they're not going to do that.
You're not going to be a productive member of our colony. But we're going to give you like this special place where all the people who work hard, they'll give you half their food.
Yeah, we'll give you what we've worked hard for, and you just sit on your ass because you're infected and you can't do anything.
I'm just saying.
The ants are progressive, man.
If we want to
when ants are more progressive than the actual progressives.
If we want to emulate nature and these natural societies that occur in nature, what we see when there's destructive diseases spreading is the culling of those people.
Yeah.
So this study, for all of you guys that say you want to fight back and you want to do whatever to all the commies that are in the country, whatever kind of stuff that you guys want to do to them, you can now cite this study and say, look, this is nature.
This is nature.
It's natural for a social community to remove the people and the objects within it that are going to cause destruction to that community. So when you have a community like America with set rules and guidelines that says, all men are created equal, capitalism, republic, like there's rules, basically, like it's laid out roughly. And then you are, as a person, you're coming in and saying,
I don't care about your rules.
These rules, I don't want to follow them all. And I'm going to encourage other people to not follow the rules.
Why not? Why infect their minds?
The proper thing to do to preserve that society and those values would be to
get rid of them or put them somewhere else.
Separate them.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill them.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I'm not going to go that far.
Yeah.
Some other edgier streams might say, well, we should do like what the ants did and kill them off.
No.
No, all I'm saying is that if you want to survive this mind virus that we're experiencing, we can take a model off of nature, off of science.
Yep.
By emulating their behavior and separating these people out.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Trade, or in my case, I say we need to trade these people who've been infected with the mind virus that we are experiencing in America. Just give them to China, because that's what those are the ones. That's what China wants.
So in this analogy, there would be another ant colony of like a way far away where they would just take the infected pupa.
Just start your own colony.
Over to that
give
colony.
it to them.
Yeah, go start your own disease colony.
Yeah, go start your own disease colony.
We don't want your mind virus.
We don't want your mind virus. Like,
exactly.
Go make your own queen and get your own virus. Like, we don't want that here.
Yeah, we got a shout out for Gad Sad in chat. All -1. There you go. See, I can drop some names and. But I used to play a game called SimAnt. Shout out for all those old school gamers. I think it was on Super Nintendo, where you control an ant colony. Maybe that's why I'm able to think about society on a larger scale, because you get to control a whole community of ants, and you're like, oh, well, I could make this decision that's going to affect the community this way. The leftists, they're all about just, well, what do I want? What feels morally or emotionally superior to me? I don't think it's a proper way to make decisions.
Yeah, it's not, but... That's why I've been saying, let's do a trade. China, let's trade. Let's do like a Pokemon trade, okay? Trade you 10,000 of our communists for 5,000 of your free thinking folk.
Tomasi brings up a good point in chat. He says the removal of infected persons, quote unquote infected, would be agreeable to the commies too.
Yeah, they want to be.
They would agree.
They would agree. Separated. They would want to be separated. They want that.
So this is kind of like an advertisement for my ongoing underlying theory that goes underneath every stream that I do, which is the idea of decentralization. We need to split up all parallel societies.
Split the tribes.
All that stuff.
Let's split it up. Decentralize.
Now I have a study for the ants. And ants, let's not make any bones about it. Ants are some of the most successful animals on the planet.
Oh, they are.
I think if by mass there's more ants on the planet than any other organism.
There's like trillions of them.
They've adapted to every single climate, probably except for like Antarctica.
Yeah, there's no ants in the Arctic Circle.
Everywhere from the desert to the jungle and in between, there's successful
ants.
species of ants. So you can't look at the ants and say, well, if we're going to have a science-minded mindset, we can't emulate their behavior because they're not successful.
No, they're super successful.
They have no track record.
No.
I'm just saying.
If you fall into a colony of fire ants, your ass is dead. You're getting eaten. Like, I'm sorry. Like, they are super successful. Ants.
Just saying. I thought it'd be funny to bring that up because, again, remember, we're dealing with people who claim that they follow science like a religion. So...
They're like successful engineers. They're successful at social stuff because they're doing they're culling their herd. They're like, hey, we don't want the infected people that aren't gonna, follow what's going on. The ants are fairly smart for being pretty inferior beings or smaller beings than us, but they're pretty smart in their own way.
I don't even think I'd call them inferior.
I don't think they're
been
inferior.
Here way longer than
they
we
have been, yeah, for sure.
Way longer.
They're not inferior. They're definitely way smarter. We're just bigger and at the top of the food chain in comparison to them. But they are very smart in a lot of aspects. We need to take notes from certain species on our planet.
Yeah, there's small little details about like how they're going to be separated. The people that the leftists would definitely argue about, like, you know, they want to put you in a concentration camp, and we just want to have our own island and be left alone.
Yeah, we just want to buy our own island.
Very different strategies, but the principle of separation.
I've actually
is still the same.
I've actually heard of islands off of the coast of Japan that are for sale. So you might want to look into that, Jeremy. I know you've been thinking about moving to Japan.
You know why they're for sale though?
Because you don't want to live on them.
Yeah.
You gotta have like an airplane to get to them.
Earthquakes and tsunamis. And
Yeah,
stuff.
earthquakes and tsunamis. Like you're at risk of your house just being swallowed up by a tsunami.
Hey, there we go. All -1. I think I have another follower here of my concept here. I think he agrees with decentralization as the founders intended. As stated above, Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number, I think if I'm remembering correctly, Dunbar's number is the number of people, the optimal size of your immediate community. Feel free to correct me on this one, guys.
Absolutely.
Fact check me on that one. But
Correct him.
I think what Dunbar's number is the, like, as we've studied sociology and human behavior, we've been able to determine the optimal number of people that should be in your immediate community, which means like your extended family and your immediate like neighbors or your tribe.
Yeah, your tribe.
Because that's how we evolve. We evolve in tribes.
We gotta have our tribes.
And that's not a big number.
It's not. It shouldn't be.
It's
Some of the most successful people don't have a very big tribe.
no.
They keep it small. They don't want to have too many mouths to feed,
And,
essentially.
And yeah, let's be honest. The problem with all this communist socialism and communism of the implementation of that is a matter of scale.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with 358 million people.
Yeah.
It will work with 20 people.
Yeah, it works with a commune of less than 100 people. Communism works great for a commune of less than 100 people. But you get thousands, millions, hundreds of millions.
Anthony says, just build back better and the island is yours.
Yeah, get your,
Build back better.
build it back better,
The
man.
lamest slogan in all time. By the way, question for you.
Okay.
Who managed Joe Biden's campaign?
I don't know.
Exactly. Nobody does.
Usually they pick a firm, right?
Anybody in chat, name the manager of Joe Biden's campaign. And this is, I want to point out the fact that if everything is as we are to believe, this is the greatest campaign in the history of mankind.
He got more votes than Obama.
More votes than Obama without ever leaving his basement. Greatest campaign in history.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, he's clearly got the best campaign manager of all time.
Right.
And we should all know their name.
Shelley says, his wife, question mark? And Tomasi says, Xi Jinping and Satan. I think I'm kind of...
That explains it.
That explains it.
That would explain it.
And then Anthony says, Jorge Smoros.
Jorge Smoros.
Jorge Smoros.
See, that's my point, Osis, is you didn't know until you looked it up.
Yeah.
So if you...
Whoever Jen O'Malley Dillon is.
We all knew who Trump's campaign manager was, which ironically I'm blanking on her name right now, but she's been in.
Wasn't it Kimberly Guilfoyle?
No, the blonde lady.
Kaylee. No, that's his
No.
press secretary.
We all know. The point is, we all know, except for me. So I'm not
I
making my
probably
point
know
very
it.
well.
I'm blanking on her name right now too.
Yeah, no, we all know her face. I just forgot her name. What's her name?
She's probably smoking.
Well, I mean, she's older, but Trump's campaign manager. I'm gonna have to Google this right now.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not making a good case for myself.
You've had a little bit of whiskey, so it's okay to forget some things.
I'll blame it on that.
Yeah, blame it on the whiskey always.
Kellyanne Conway.
Yes, that lady.
We all knew who she was after the Trump campaign ended because we're like, oh, damn, this was like the best campaign we've ever seen. Build the wall and all that. Who ran this campaign? It was a woman,
Yeah.
Kellyanne Conway, which is probably why nobody wanted to talk about it because it was like, wait, Trump's a sexist, but he had a woman.
But he had a
manage his
woman
campaign.
campaign manager, and
But why do we not know who the campaign manager is for?
for
for
Biden? Because she's probably a horse.
No, it's probably because that wasn't a factor.
They didn't care.
The campaign manager wasn't a factor in Biden winning the election. That's the point that I wanted to sideways make, is that if it was a good campaign, everybody be interviewing the campaign manager. They'd be all over the news. How did you do it? What was your strategy? This and that. Nobody wants to talk about it because campaign manager wasn't a factor.
Biden's real campaign managers, because it's two entities. It's BLM and Antifa. Those are his campaign managers.
They were definitely the cheerleaders.
They were definitely like strong arming people into going to vote. You know, JFK had the mafia. Biden has Antifa and BLM. So Democrats are using the same tactics.
That's
just
what I'm trying to say,
updated.
Osis. That's what I'm trying to say. Biden didn't run a campaign.
He didn't. Yeah.
But apparently he got the most votes of all time.
Yeah, he got more votes than Obama.
He blew Obama out of the water.
Yeah, more votes than Obama, more votes than Trump. Like, yeah, out of his basement.
It's a mystery.
We don't know who ran his campaign. All I can see.
The leftist media. Dari says the leftist media was his managers.
Yeah, for real. It was the leftist media, BLM, and Antifa. Social media too. Yeah,
social media was the big one. Because social media has been working for Biden for the past year, 2 years.
Long time.
As they're banning people off of, banning conservatives and Republicans, effective communicators off their platforms.
Banning Milo.
It's all so that they can reduce the reach for the campaigns.
How dare they ban Milo? They can't do that. We need him. I'm just kidding. We don't. He's good off of Twitter. He's doing his thing.
They had grassroots scammers. Yeah, no, they were.
No, grassroots scammers equals just dead people.
I'm sure there were some dead people that voted for him, but there's now, if you can, I'm not going to get into all the ways that there was fraud, but I saw a picture of a bunch of screenshots of individual ballots that were all signed by different people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
And there was the exact same handwriting 50 times across a bunch of different ballots.
I'm telling you, man, there was...
Not saying that's what swung the election. I'm not saying that was any major factor. I'm just saying small examples are out there.
Yeah, they want to make it small. They're like, it's not widespread. It's not widespread. But it's not widespread, but it has been consistent for fraud for one person. In my eyes.
Well, now you know how to get away with stuff, guys. If you want to get away with something, don't make an email and then send it out to every state and say, hey, here's a plan. Just rely on every state to individually cheat in the own ways that they know how to.
Yeah. Well, California, it's easy to cheat because we have a bunch of just idiots that mail in their ballot. They just send it through the mail and they're like, oh, it'll be fine. It's good. They're going to text me when they receive it and...
Targeted, not widespread. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's very targeted. Targeted very much so in places that they should have been targeting, honestly.
Simone Sanders looks like a TSA employee.
She kind of does. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, that's
The whole election was in your face fraud.
It really was.
We talked about that on a couple streams ago.
It's total fraud.
What we learned in 2020 is that we don't have legitimate elections anymore.
Yeah, we don't. Why would we?
We do not.
Where it's all gonna just go to it's all just gonna go to.
That was weird. I think the NSA just tapped into our stream.
YouTube overlords are looking in on us.
Was it just me, or did you guys' the view of my screen just glitch out for a second there? That was weird.
We are multi-million-dollar production up in here, as you can see. So.
Yeah, I don't know why it could be going wrong. Osa says not necessarily one person can harvest 4,000 to 5,000 ballots. That means 50 people. Yeah, it adds up. You don't need to have widespread. That's thinking past the sale, which is a persuasion technique that tries to get you to overlook certain conditions or parameters of a situation that you're examining. In this particular case, they're saying there's no widespread fraud. They're making you think past the sale, and the sale is that widespread fraud is necessary.
Yeah, they don't need widespread.
You don't need. There doesn't need to be a lot of people involved in this.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be widespread. It can be just contained to a few.
Yes,
individual areas. Yeah.
I gotta spread the ideas of my boy Scott Adams.
Scott Adams is pretty good. He's turned me on to Scott Adams.
Thinking past the sale has been something that I've been cued in on for a lot longer than I've been listening to Scott Adams, but he brings that up a lot.
Yeah. Steve with the $5 super chat. What does he say? He says, deeply saddened by the loss of Nathan Birnbaum. You gave it a good run, buddy. Okay, Steve. We're gonna go and Google who this person is. It's gonna be somebody just.
Gotta go to Google.
We gotta see who this is.
Nathan
Birnbaum.
Birnbaum.
Gave it a good run.
An Austrian writer.
Okay. R.I.P. to that guy.
Died in 1937.
Oh, thank you, Steve. We love you for that. Steve will send us the super chats, and it'll just have a random person's name, and when they die, it doesn't even say when they died, and then we'll go and look them up, and it'll be just a random person.
His writings include works such as "In Bondage to Our Fellow Jews,"
Okay.
and "Confession." Yeah, a lot of other stuff.
A lot of Jew stuff.
I feel like maybe Steve's trying to give us some cryptic clues to something, so I'm gonna have to research all this stuff that he
Right.
comments on.
Right?
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that, man. $5
Yeah, we
super
love
chat.
you, Steve, for that
Love
$5
it.
super chat. That's good.
Always gets a laugh out of me.
Yeah.
Dari says, not to go into the whole election thingy again, look at the collective in terms of Biden hiding in the basement, bumbling when he did come out. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The one-horse ponies and the super international depressors.
Super international pressure.
I'm still waiting to get my allocation of super international depressor.
Mm-hmm. I
I'm
want
excited.
a little slice of that.
I'm excited.
I want my slice. Can I get a slice?
Nobody knows what that means.
Nobody knows, but it means something.
And a banana can't care.
And a banana can't care.
Banana can't care.
All right. Oh, Dari
Oh
says, what
man,
are your...
it's a perfect segue. It's the last thing I wanted to talk about.
Let's talk about this real quick before we sign out for the night.
Nashville. What is going on in Nashville?
Well, a lot of stuff. Big old explosion, apparently. And
So there was an RV downtown that exploded.
yeah, we don't know who did
And
it,
I've been trying to get as much information as I could on this.
but we don't know.
But now I'm curious if you know this, because I learned something today that I didn't learn from any of the mainstream outlets. There's a particular security camera footage of the explosion happening, and as far as I know, nobody died, but there may be some human remains involved. I don't. It's unconfirmed at this point. But there's a security cam footage with audio. Right before the bomb went off, before the RV detonated, there was a PA system, a loudspeaker on the RV of a female's, like a computerized voice where you just go to like Microsoft Sam and you type in what you want them to say. It was saying, if you can hear this, evacuate the area.
Wow.
If you can hear this, evacuate the area.
So they were trying to warn people before they
were warning anybody in the area to leave before the explosion went off.
That's kind of fucked.
So you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I had the same reaction as you. I was like, what in the hell?
That is super effed.
Yeah.
Super effed.
So
Like, they knew what they were doing was wrong, that they had to warn people.
Did you guys know that? An audio over a PA system saying evacuate the area, and then as the loop is happening, it's like evacuate the area, boom, and then it explodes. It's like, what? Okay, so that gives you some clues to me anyway. If I'm gonna put on my, let's put the forensics,
Let's put the thinking cap on.
put the forensics hat on, right?
Thinking cap. For the simple-minded folks like me.
Motive and opportunity are the two main things you want to look at when somebody's trying to commit a crime. So the
course.
motive here, this is an inquiry into the motive. If somebody is playing over a loudspeaker, loud enough for a security camera to pick it up down the street,
Yeah, that's...
saying leave the area if you can hear this, evacuate the area. Does that person want to kill people?
No. No, they don't want to. But they were trying to send a message.
So so now we can, I think, just based on this evidence alone, and again, we're just amateur forensics people here examining this.
We're not any, no kind of scientists.
Very limited information. Okay, so we can rule out that and it wasn't like a populated area.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't like an
Wasn't it in
outdoor
the middle-
restaurant or
wasn't
right
it in
there
the
or
middle of the
anything
night,
like that.
too?
It was in the middle of the night. I think it was, middle of the night. I don't know the exact time frame, but it was in the middle of the night. So we can rule out that he wanted to kill people.
Yeah, they didn't want to kill people. Why would they warn people?
He gave them he warned them.
Why would they warn
If you
if
can
they
hear
wanted
this-
to hurt people?
Evacuate the area. So then, so that we can, let's just rule that out, just because we're going through a very rough and quick process of elimination here to try and figure out why somebody would do this. So they don't want to kill people. a bomb does what? It destroys property. It explodes. It
Sends a
destroys.
it sends a message.
It destroys things.
Mm-hmm.
What is in the area of that RV? What was it parked next to?
Wasn't it a bunch of houses or like apartments or?
There was some apartments nearby
Yeah.
because there's a lot of eyewitness testimony of people being, having their windows
Yeah,
shattered.
it was like it looked like it was kind of in semi-residential, maybe business. I don't know.
Right.
It's hard. It was kind of hard for me to tell like what kind of area it was in.
So okay, Dari brings it up in chat. I can tell Dari's reading up on this too, but there was an AT&T building right there.
Oh, okay.
And when this bomb went off, there was widespread regional communication outages stemming from the damage to that AT&T building.
They were trying to bring down like communication for people.
Like an infrastructure attack.
Mm-hmm. It was that's kind of terroristic, don't you think?
It was an infrastructure attack.
That's a bit terroristic.
Because we have our telecommunications that were disrupted by that. And if you look at a map, I don't think I could pull one up on the fly because I don't have it ready.
Don't even worry about it.
But what you guys should do is look at the AT&T, or just Google like AT&T communications outage map on Christmas. Because you'll see is a map of the United States, and then there's a giant red spot right there. It's centered in Nashville, spreading outwards. Like it's pretty big.
So they were trying to disrupt communications.
With the evidence that we have available to us right now, that would seem like the most likely motivation.
Disrupt communications and send a message at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a kill two birds with one stone scenario.
Let's see. Heather said something here. I think the building was AT&T building that contained a server farm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then somebody said.
Dari says the line showing on the map that I was talking about went pretty far to western states. That's right. It was a very widespread outage.
Oh, okay. 21 injured, 9 critically in an explosion at Baltimore. So there was an explosion in Baltimore too.
A natural gas company. Oh wait, company says natural gas not involved. So what I heard was that was a natural gas explosion.
Oh, okay.
So that's the whole another crazy speculative angle that you can take is that is there some connection to that? Is it a coincidence that they're both infrastructure related?
They're very much and AT&T is I don't even know what their lines are like in Nashville, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty gigantic and they serve for a good region of the country right there in the heart of Nashville.
So yeah, the bomb blowing up a telecommunications center, and there's some speculation that this was one of the centers that the NSA was collecting data directly off of.
Oh, okay.
So depending on what kind of rabbit holes this guy was going through, maybe he was like, "Oh, NSA is spying on me. Oh, wait, let me do some research on the NSA. Oh, NSA collects data through AT&T. Where's my nearest AT&T place?"
Nashville.
Loads up his RV with who knows what was in there. And then tries to go blow it up.
You can make homemade explosions with stuff that you can buy
Let's
from
not
Home
talk
Depot.
about that on YouTube.
Yeah, of course not.
That's a line we don't want to
You
walk.
could just make your own website and talk about that.
Well, Commander Osa says AT&T is an evil corporation. Look at their subsidies. There was also talk that, and of all people that I got this from, I saw it from Tariq Nasheed on Twitter, so needs heavy fact checking.
I was going to say,
But there was apparently there was a building there that was owned by the same people, Cerberus or Cerbus Inc. or something like that, were the same people that became or bought out Dominion.
Oh, of course there's ties to Dominion.
Yeah, or the owners like got integrated. I don't know what the exact relationship was between Cerbus and Dominion, but it had ties to it. So that's another crazy conspiracy theorist angle that you can take with
That's
it.
another rabbit hole to go down.
So at this point, I think the best thing that we can say about this is that some guy
blew up for some reason.
Well, that's about it, yeah. But if we were to speculate on the reason, it's like some guy who was super digging down some internet rabbit holes after the election or something like that. I was like, oh, NSA or Dominion. And then he somehow came to blame this building because he didn't want to kill people.
Yeah.
He wanted to blow up the building.
Yeah, he just wanted to destroy property.
I think that's pretty much, we can assume that that's the case right now. But
wanted to destroy property and send a message.
Yeah. So
it's a 2-for-1. He didn't want to hurt people. The the 20, I think it's 21 dead or injured or whatever. He didn't really want to hurt people.
Well, that was in Boston. That wasn't in Nashville.
Oh,
Nobody died in Nashville.
Nobody died?
Nope.
Okay.
No deaths.
Oh, that's the Baltimore one.
As far as I know, yeah, right now. Yeah, he was talking about the Baltimore.
Oh, that
where
was
people died.
Baltimore. Okay. So no injuries in Nashville.
So yeah, so
That's good, I guess. But still,
So now what we could do, we're in a state right now where we've seen this national news happen with a bombing. There's not much information known about it. We can, at this point, try and make some predictions about how the story's going to be handled, who they're going to try and blame it on.
they're gonna blame it
And
on
we're
right.
already getting people in chat because you guys are right on line
I
with
was
what
gonna
I'm
say they're
thinking.
gonna blame it on right wingers and
You're
Trumpers.
exactly right in line with what I'm thinking. Yep.
They're gonna blame it on us. They're gonna, because I'm the right wing, even though I'm super gay, I'm the right wing voice of this channel. Like they're gonna blame it on us right wingers, but the right wingers are gonna go, no, it's leftists. It's all the leftists. Like they always do this. This is what they do. They do their crap and they blame it on us. But in all actuality, it's probably just some deranged person. Doesn't really fit in either category. They're just like, screw AT&T. I don't want to pay my bill.
They're just a crazy misnomer. Well, that could be it too. He's just like, man, I got AT&T keeps calling me every day.
AT&T calls me every day. They're trying to squeeze money out of me. Screw these guys. That's really probably what it is.
Yeah, but what's happening now is they found out where. So there was a Google Maps image where they were able to locate a picture from Google Maps of the RV in somebody's backyard.
Oh, okay.
That matched the address of the suspect that they're actually looking at. So we pretty much know where it came from, and the police just started searching their house today,
Okay.
like earlier this afternoon. So they're gonna find some things. They're gonna look through his computer.
Probably some swastikas.
They're gonna like plant some swastikas.
Yeah, they're gonna put some like swastika flags and some,
Like, oh, this is a clear-cut case.
and some Confederate flags and
Yeah, like this is a clear-cut case of white supremacy.
Mein Kampf on the nightstand.
Yeah, no. Apparently they found some kind of human remains, but I don't think it's been verified yet. So
I mean,
still waiting to hear on that officially on that one.
they're just
Luckily, the FBI had enough time freed up from the Talladega News incident they finally wrapped up that hefty investigation.
Yeah.
And they were able to allocate some time to this.
Yeah.
So
thank God, we gotta love and support our FBI agents because they work so hard.
that was I stole that joke from Salty Cracker, by the way.
Oh,
I can't claim credit for that.
I don't know what that is. So,
He's a pretty big YouTuber. He
there's,
gets a couple more viewers than we do right now.
there's a lot of things I don't know, but thank you for telling me, Jeremy.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, that's
like
why I'm
everybody
here.
else. You're here
You
to learn.
educate me every single time.
Osa says if I were to bet on it, I'd say it was a right-wing leaning person. I would also.
I kind of suspect a right-leaning person too.
Yep, I would also bet, and I think that what they're going to do is they're going to take some kind of. Well, first of all, we don't know the race.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen in the media is, as soon as we know the race, and they say it's white,
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
they're going to
terrorist.
White is going to be in every headline. If it's a black person, and we don't know this yet, so this is some predictions that we can pan out. You guys can judge us on the performance of these predictions. If it's a black person,
There's not gonna be any news
there's
about
going to be
them.
no mention of it.
Yeah.
There'll be news, but there's going to be no mention of the race.
It'll just be
in
the
any news
name at
articles.
the very bottom of the article.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
They're going to try to describe him as vaguely as possible. Okay, so we got the racial side of it down. So just based off of the fact that he's white, they're going to try and blame it on Trump.
Yeah.
They're going to find some kind of statement that Trump made via a tweet or a speech somewhere in the past.
They're gonna magically find a journal that he had where he quotes Donald Trump throughout it.
Well, no. What they're going to do is there's armies of journalists, heavy quotations on that word right there, journalists trudging through everything that Trump ever said about looking for AT&T, Nashville, anything they can use to try and relate this so that when we find out it's a white guy, they're going to be like, oh, look at what Trump tweeted back in 2016. He said AT&T sucks.
Yeah,
This is all Trump's fault.
this is all Trump's fault.
So they're going to find some way from the past to tie it in with some vague reference
They're
to
just gonna
something.
Pizzagate the shit out of this.
They're like, look at the symbol that he used in this tweet over here. This guy had it on the side of his van.
They're gonna like just Pizzagate the crap out of this thing, dude.
That's
And the media is gonna do what they did with Pizzagate. They're gonna be like, no. But the guy that went into Comet Pizza and, shot one round in Comet Pizza, what he was talking about was crazy. There's no underground child trafficking ring going out of Comet Pizza. It's a total myth. Pizzagate is a myth. That's what they're going to do with
like
this.
a one-off thing.
Yeah, it's a one-off thing. That's what they're going to do with this.
Well, that's what they do anytime the leftists get pinned for something. Is it just a one-off thing.
Yeah. Well, because I think somebody in chat said that Comcast, AT&T, Disney own most of the media, and that's probably what, if it's a right-leaning person that committed this attack, that's probably what they're gonna be thinking when they committed it. Like, oh, we need to bring down.
Yes, that's right. That's what they'll link it to, is the anti-media narrative.
The anti-media.
Trump said that media is the enemy of the people.
So we're that's how they're gonna link it to Trump right there.
Do it.
If it is a white person,
that's how they're gonna.
But if it's a black person or some BLM or Antifa person, they're gonna be like, they were some mentally unstable person or just mental health issues or whatever. They're gonna just blame it on nothing.
It's kind of sad that this is the clue for it being a right winger, but the thought and the planning that went into it. Lefties don't do thought and planning.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't put a PA system that says, please evacuate the area. Please evacuate the area.
Yeah.
That's like more of a calculated, so that tends to be just purely psychologically and behaviorally speaking, indication of somebody that was more conservative.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm kind of on the fence of a right winger.
A retard kamikaze leftist would just run in with, and they'd just suicide jacket or something like that.
Yeah, they would.
And that's
what
it's going to be. So let's make that our prediction. They're going to blame it on Trump because Trump called the media the enemy of the people, and they're going to link AT&T
to the media. Yeah, and they do. Dari says AT&T owns CNN, Warner, DirecTV. So
that's a perfect one. Or I'll offer an alternative as well. I'm going to say that Trump also has gone after if they want to go with the intelligence agency angle, if it turns out that there was some motivation in this guy's journal, or that he didn't like the intelligence agencies, they'll use the same thing. They'll say, well, Trump was forging a war against the intelligence agencies, and this is what happens in Trump's America when he makes an enemy of the domestic intelligence agencies. Now we've got white supremacists attacking the intelligence agencies.
Right.
So it's going to be one of those two.
It's just to deflect from them, Even though it probably is a right winger, I'm not gonna lie. This kind of smells a little right winger-ish. Just because of the announcement that they made, we vacate the premises. If you could hear this, vacate the area. You said, no leftist would have that shit running on their PA.
And again, just it's kind of sad that this is a measure of how we can determine who's politically leaning one way or the other. But it was a successful attack.
It was.
It actually went through.
Yeah, it blew that freaking area up.
It went through completion. You have to be competent to be able to pull that off. You have to be competent to create a PA system automated that says, please evacuate the area.
And have a bomb that actually explodes. And have a
significant explosion. That actually explodes.
Significant explosion.
There is a base level of competence involved to be able to pull that off. And leftists, competency is not a strong suit for them. So it's just an honest
They're having trouble with understanding whether they're a boy or a girl. So let alone they can't figure out how to get chemicals to react to create a great explosion.
It's true. This is it's just an objective examination of what's going on. So, I know not everyone's going to like hearing the fact that it looks like it's going to be more of a right winger, but
I'm a right winger, and I'm the first one to admit that this kind of smells like a right winger. Just smells like it. Just a brief synopsis, off the surface, off the cuff, it smells like a right winger.
T Ryan says that remember the GOP baseball shooter? Well, we do, but nobody else does. We don't want to talk about that. Jim Acosta always said that Trump's anti-media narrative would harm journalists. Oh, Jim Acosta's going to get his day of reckoning, isn't he?
Jim Acosta is terrible. He needs to just stop.
He is awful, but
he's just purely just terrible.
Oh yeah, no. Steve brings up a good point. He says you never know. but everyone thought the DC sniper was white. And he was not. He was black.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they were black. It was this guy and his son.
There's a lot of freaking mass shooters that are black, or mass murderers or terrorists that are black. People just...
I can't say that one stalking horse, but I do see it. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it smells like a stalking horse. We love you, stalking horse. You're hilarious. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what comes out with that story. It'll be interesting to see the development. But now you have our predictions, so.
Yep. And if we're wrong, then oh well. But
Maybe.
at least we cast our vote.
We've used the knowledge of our knowledge of the behavior of the media to determine how they're going to handle it going forward. And if they follow the same tactics, I think we're going to be pretty close to on point.
Maybe. And if we're wrong, oh well. We'll admit it. It's cool.
We'll adjust and adapt.
And if it is a leftist, then cool. Like, for once, a leftist gets held accountable for the bullcrap that they spill. Like, this is stupid. I'm tired of these mother effers out there in freaking Portland and in Seattle taking up entire regions of a freaking city block.
Just getting away with it.
Just getting away with it. And
Let 'em
then,
have it.
and then, but you know, if they actually had an explosion in Nashville and it was pointed towards them, yay, cool. They actually get some heat for once.
What if it was a black right winger?
Maybe that would be the ultimate.
The media would be a brain.
That would be a brain twister because they
Yeah.
already like lose their minds when they
this or do we not
they
cover
already
it?
lose their goddamn brains when it's talking about like Candace Owens or any of these like right winger black people. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe a black person could be conservative. It's like anybody can be conservative or conservative leaning. You don't got it doesn't have to be a white thing.
We will keep our finger on the pulse of that story, and we'll update you guys on the next one with
Hell yeah.
everything that we know.
All right, Jeremy, what day do we want to do this again?
We'll be back live on Tuesday.
Tuesday night?
Tuesdays and Saturdays seem to
Tuesdays
work
and
out for you guys
Saturdays?
pretty well, so that's what we're running with for now.
Yep, we love it.
If you guys missed the announcement at the beginning of the stream, I am starting a locals.com page
Yes,
where
we
we
are.
will be doing in the future. And 2 weeks from now, what's going to happen is this stream will continue for at least another hour or so privately on the locals page only,
This is private.
where we can talk about all the stuff in an uncensored manner without the YouTube overlords watching us. If you want to get in on that, it's going to be more of a kind of a one-on-one discussion between us and the viewers, where we interact with you guys almost entirely, and we'll be drinking and having a great time and
And
all
it'll
that
be
stuff. So
after hours and we'll be uncensored, be able to curse and say what we want without having daddy YouTube over our
wider
heads.
range of topics to talk about. We can delve into pretty much anything.
We can
So
delve into
if
a
you
lot
guys are
more.
interested in that, there is a link below to my locals page there.
Yep.
Again, that's going to be starting in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So we're going to
So-
start the New Year's off with a locals page.
Get in on it.
Get in before we get hot.
Other than that,
I mean, we're already hot, so
steaming.
steaming,
White hot.
smoking, smoldering.
Amazing.
Amazing.
I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. And I hope you're going to have a great New Year's as well.
Yep.
2021, we got to go into it. We're going to kill it, okay?
We're all going to kill it.
No complaining about 2020 and how bad it was.
Yeah.
Just look forward.
Let's
We're going to
do
build
it.
back better. That's right, Anthony. Thanks for guys for joining us again on this weekly narrative
Make sure you like,
live stream.
share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because at the beginning of the stream, somebody let us know that they got notified. So the more you guys get notified that we're here and you guys get to tune in, the more we get to talk to you, and that's what
Exactly
we want.
it.
So please subscribe.
Hope you guys had as much fun as we did. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Jeremy and Delaney from the Weekly Narrative.
Yep.
We're out of here. See you guys.
Good night.